Do you want to be a part of the Coco community? Sure, we all do. So join this free weekly live talk show to find out how easy it is to watch at home and learn about your color computer. At the CoCoNation, more than 9 million men and women have participated in the community without setting foot outside their homes. And now at home in your spare time, you can see what's happening, or even join the discussion. Choose from any one of these segments: panel intros, project updates, acquisitions, Coco thoughts, featured interviews and events, the Game On Challenge, news, Ron's Garage, Coco commercials, show coverage, panel goodbyes, or you can join one of our extra shows. You can choose from the Game On Challenge Live or Coco Tech. Join the CoCoNation right now.
Click the link for the free information TJB Chris spoke about. Then decide if you want to watch the CoCoNation Live Show, the world's leading live weekly talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer, its siblings, cousins, and red-headed stepchildren. Visit thecoconation.com. There is no obligation and no salesman will visit you. Visit thecoconation.com.
The CoCoNation show is an unscripted, live, and interactive broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own, and not necessarily those of the CoCoNation show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds are encouraged, and a sense of humor is recommended. Thank you for being a part of the CoCoNation.
Radio Shack? Okay.
What?
The 80s called.
Welcome to the CoCoNation, the world's first live and interactive talk show featuring the Tandy color computer and its hardware cousins.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CoCoNation Show, episode 443. Yes, I did change it. Oh, let's see. On the panel today, we got Frederick, micro hobbyist,
Hello.
and Sloopy,
Hello, Julie.
yep, and Ron Mega Deluxe,
Hello, welcome everybody.
and yours truly, the button pusher. Next row, we got Patrick Euland.
Before we go much further, I think everyone here should certify they are at least 16, and especially Mr. Marentis. And we are legal to appear in Australia on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Are you in fact 16, Nick?
Well,
No comment.
He's an age that sounds like that, kind of.
At least in metric.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The
Did you
conversion.
dye your hair? That's what we want to know.
All right,
That's
next
fine.
over, we got Ken Waters.
I've got my giant cup of coffee, so I'm ready for Curtis to do the news.
And Jason, the Coco Man.
I know I'm ready. I've got my Diet Dr. Pepper right here, and I've got some water. So
Excellent.
let's continue on here with the CoCoNation show.
Double trouble.
All right. and-
Water? What's wrong with you?
And Marco.
Hey there, glad to be here.
Next row, we got L. Curtis Boyle.
I've got an even bigger cup of coffee because I got to read the news.
Wing
2 weeks of it.
Nuts.
Hey, good afternoon. Hello.
Hey, we met.
There you are. And Kevin Holloway.
No, no.
Muted.
Hello. Hello.
There we are.
Hey,
It's
Kevin.
Godzilla. We must flee.
All right, next up, we got Bob Emery. And last but not least, we got Nick Marentes.
And in advance, I want to say we're sorry.
Oh, gee, right up front.
No, that's a Canadian thing. Why?
Yeah,
are
it's
you
Canadian. Yeah, what are you stealing our
Yeah.
bid for?
Because they don't have a better bit, like Good Day.
Does that mean the show's over?
Good day and good day.
Good Day, yeah.
saying? Good day.
Let's see, in the chat, we started off with Wayne Campbell, Kevin Holloway,
Didn't we?
Brian Blake, Michael Zwiffel, Julian Brown, J.E. Jones, 8 Bits in the Basement, Micro Hobbyist, Tim Franklin, Scott Garrett, Tom Erik Gundersen, Bill and HSV,
Bill and
Stixie.
Athen.
Okay. Joe Lovacoco, Brian Walsh. Things moved on me. There it is, Coco Man video, and we're caught up. Okay.
In
You know,
this
the big-
hour's Shoulder Cat brought to you by Mark Overhoser.
And one thing we did not do in the pre-show was ask, does anybody have any updates?
Sure, I'll throw a quick one out.
Not like we plan anything anyway.
Is the cocoa totally buried in the snow now, the case?
We haven't got any more snow.
Oh, okay.
I had the bright idea that I was going to put like a thermistor on a joystick port so I could measure the temperature on my cocoa, but it's off scale low. So all we've got is a picture of all my shoveling this week.
But you realize that the fact that you're trying to do a scale on your cocoa, you're sort of also at the same time retrobriding it, but it's going to be on a scale too.
Oh, yeah, I
Depending
suppose
on
you're
how much
right.
snow there is.
There'll be a light side and a dark side, and it'll be like the Force. Bring everything
And,
together.
it'll
to the
take till
dark
spring to
side.
finish.
So anyway, I was messing with the PIA on my front room's been getting worse and worse. So different keys will stop wording or they'll start repeating. Single repeat, 1-1 became 1-1-1-1-1-1-1. And now I think what's going on with that list 12-12 error is you can get two keys repeating at the same time. So you can get the one repeating and the two repeating, and you get 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Ah,
I can get alternating letters in my repeating keys. In any case, that was a good reason to switch to what am I trying to say? Oh, I went to my stock of stuff to find. So here's the very, very best part of my collection. As you can tell, really high quality.
they're all motherboards.
They're all motherboards that are
CoCo3
long
motherboards.
past repair. Here's an
That
old
just
one.
means they're a little bit more challenging.
But they make great donors.
Here's an interesting one that Brother Jeremy made that he put in a case where the card fit back over the top. And
Just add more bodge wires.
well, that's where we're headed. So in any case, I went through and desoldered a bunch of PIAs and stuff. So now I have some parts for to fix my front room.
There's only one gimme present.
Yeah, well, most of the good gimmies were pulled and put in a safe place, not left in the burned out motherboards. So anyway,
this is a great thing for someone doing a reproduction CoCo3 main board.
Mm-hmm.
and so I ended up with these 3 repair candidates here in the back room.
Are we going to vote on them?
I'm going to try to fix all 3 of them as it goes. The one that had these I put, I found good boards that aren't wrecked and they've got gimmies in. We'll see if we can fix them, and then maybe get the front board fixed as well. I found this happened on several of them. This stuff's conductive.
Wow, was it a mouse?
These toroids here, apparently in the video can, just kind of attract any fuzz, the metallic fuzz that comes by. In any case, this makes your video crappy.
Metallic fuzz, that was my cover band.
Yes, and if you sweep off the metallic fuzz, your alignment gets better. Who would have thunk it? So I learned something in the process, as well as
Don't they have to do that with portable MRI machines? Go sweep the trailer every day?
Oh, they might. Yeah. I never thought I'd have to do it to CoCo, but apparently stuff falls through the top, through the adjustment hole, and right on into the toroids inside. And
Jason? Yeah, was your band also known as the Zinc Whiskers?
Tin Whiskers.
Early on, yes, we had to change the name for legal reasons.
And then the copyright strike on Tin Whiskers. So
you're suffering from toroid torture.
Yeah, toroid disfiguration or something. But yeah, this one had a bunch of waves in it. And while I was in here messing way around, I took a toothbrush and swept all the crap out, and the wavy picture got better. So I'm going to blame it on this.
And
fuzz.
not that you turned the toroid a little bit with the
well, I don't
brushing.
think a toothbrush is really going to change stuff much. It could, I guess, but I'm going to think just the fuzz on top changed its magnetism a little bit or something. In any case, try cleaning out the inside of your video can. If your video is bad, it just might help.
Isn't yours covered normally?
Well, there's a cover over it, but the covers have holes in them. So the stuff, if you have a magnet, it's going to fall right through these holes.
Or drift through the air currents.
Well, it's going to be drawn right through the holes into the because those toroids are under these adjustment holes. And these holes are right under the slots in the top of the CoCo. So anything that falls through rusts the top, falls through the holes, sticks in the toroid things. I think you can pick the ones that have been in my workshop.
And the holes are there because the shielding will affect the tuning.
Right. So you can't tune it if you take the shield off. That's how sensitive these things are. So yeah, a little bit of metal fuzz in there is probably a bad idea.
Okay, so it's the rust that's coming off the can lid.
It could be, or just rust from my shop. I mean, a couple of these were my shop computers, and you run it in the shop till it quits working, and you grab a different one out of the.
So this is a PSA for maintaining your CoCo.
Right. Remove all of the filings from inside of it before you plug it in.
So all of these can be put in a dishwasher and cleaned up so that you can sell it for scrap.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're circuit boards. We do where I work.
Yeah, but they're not using. You're using deionized water, and you're using.
Right, not Milwaukee's finest or what have you.
No, just regular dishwasher.
Little rinse aid in there. Yeah, we'll be good.
Isn't Milwaukee's finest
not a
beer?
good practice to do it in a regular dishwasher, but places have done it. I worked one place where they had me wash boards, wash all the flux off of them because we had water soluble flux, and they had them wash in a utility tub, and I'm like, this can't be good.
Right. No, we high class it now. We've got a little ultrasound bat, but you still just put water and soap in it and zap it with ultrasound, and that makes it cool, I guess.
You don't really know what elbow macaroni can do on a motherboard.
Gotta say I don't.
I never thought of that.
Yeah. Dishwasher stuff. Schmutz.
Oh, without or without the cheese, yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Anyone else got one?
I do have a question we should probably ask. I think starting last year, we started to take like a day off for Christmas and New Year's type thing. Have we decided which date we're taking off this year?
Oh,
well, Christmas is a Thursday, so.
Last week when you weren't here.
We decided we just work
I
right
watched the
through.
episode. I know that's not true.
Yeah. It just made you, there was a pause.
So yeah, 27th is the one after Christmas. And between New
So would that be the one
Year's,
between
is that-
Christmas and New Year's? Probably the best one to take off.
Take off, eh?
Yeah, to the Great White North. Well, maybe not. It's too cold.
You hoser.
Yeah, it's either the 27th or the 3rd because those are.
Oh, I'm good just to keep going
Jason.
because I don't.
Or
It's
I
not
got nothing
really close enough
myself.
to the holiday.
There,
yeah.
there really isn't anything going on, is there? I mean, is everybody?
Maybe we could have
staying
a
home?
mini optional show where those who want can show up and.
Yeah, I think last year we had kind of a little mini Discord gathering, if I remember correctly.
March around. We can all jump on and mess around for an hour or two and leave if no one else,
Mm-hmm.
if we got news,
like
if we got
last week.
content, if we don't, yeah.
We'll just
It's kinda
play
like most shows, though.
Rhoda Sanda for a while.
Shoot, heck, I got to work Friday anyway.
I took
Oh.
Friday off.
They got that one day between Christmas and the weekend. Get into work, son. Jeez.
Somebody
Not
has
like
to.
anything's going to get done anyway.
Yeah.
I took
Right. It's
that
not
day
like
off.
anyone's going to do any work, but you can go into work.
We're bound to get a call or three.
Oh, I hear single
get that.
side band.
Yep.
Just
Move that
for everybody.
clarifier around a little bit there.
Sorry, Dave. Sorry about that.
That's where you got to flip that switch and turn that knob a little bit there.
Everybody becomes an amateur radio guy.
Right.
Aren't
At least
most
you
of
were on
you?
the right side band. Otherwise, it just sounds like quack, 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 quack.
Right.
Okay, so for the viewers though, you guys are going to have a show. It just might not be the full panel.
Well, I mean, we'll just come on and show off our acquisitions.
How are we
Christmas
spelling
gifts.
full?
It's a Christmas WeFax show.
We'll just have Wignet tune in signals
No,
on
no,
single side
not
band.
WeFax.
I'd be in it. I'd be into that.
Well, let's just
Hey,
not make it
dog.
mandatory.
So yeah, we'll
Nobody
just.
brain.
I mean, just, as far as I'm concerned, we just have a normal show. Unless
Don't expect it.
people got things
I won't
to
be
do.
here.
That's fine.
Yeah, life having.
Yeah, that's been happening a lot lately.
How dare you have a life, Curtis?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with it. I've never done that before.
It's taking time to work your way in, right?
So
Not to say in the military. If
But
you
it's
need
getting
a
a lot.
life, they don't issue you one.
He's just getting a lot of exercise pushing the truck.
No, it's been running good actually. It's been handling the -30 weather and everything else. So like getting them to replace that battery actually helped, I think.
Oh, so they got the transmission figured out?
Yep. It was a wiring harness that had a bad solder joint or something on it. And when it heated up one summer, it just melted together and all of a sudden started blowing actuators and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Oh, perfect.
Hey, Mark B.
Yeah.
Erico
So
said he'll bore us with games and graphics on that day. So we'll have a guest.
You bought a Ford, didn't you?
Okay.
What's that?
You bought a Ford truck?
Yeah.
Oh, doesn't Ford stand for, was it fix or repair daily? Is that the old
Found on the
joke?
road
Yeah,
dead.
no, I've heard that before. Ron's mentioned that before.
No, it's found on road dead.
Yeah.
Both of those, actually.
Okay. Either way, if I bought a new vehicle and I was having that many problems with it, I would be pretty.
Well, it's been one problem. It's just that they thought the actuator was bad. So they replaced it, immediately blew. They thought, well, maybe we got a bad part, order another one. That ran for a little bit and then blew. And then they started talking to some major tech, and he said the wiring harness that connects the actuator might be bad, and maybe it's shorting it out and killing it every time. So they had to wait for that. And because of the stupid tariff war and everything else right now, parts are taking 2 to 3 weeks to go through.
Right.
So it took several months to go through all this to figure out what was wrong.
And just
So
so
they-
Time for a new truck.
In the
At least
chat.
They replaced the crapped out battery and stuff.
Well, I was just going to say, so if it's a bad solder joint, I didn't know Curtis worked for Ford.
Yeah, right?
That'd be a non-existent solder joint if I worked for
Oh my
Ford.
God.
The waves are coming
the
off
truck
of
would have
him
been
and
on
breaking
fire.
solder joints.
But
In
yeah,
all
since
fairness,
they...
yeah. In all
Yeah,
fairness,
no, it's been
back
working
in the
good now. I've
80s
had it for a few weeks back. I've
Yeah.
already put more kilometers on it now than I did the entire first time I had it, and I've had no problems in -40 starting it up. So
Oh, that's good.
Okay, cool.
Nicely done.
That's
All
all right.
right.
Back in the 80s, my dad bought a brand new Plymouth, Chrysler product, and we drove it to Florida and it had a cracked distributor cap, brand new. Yeah, it would when it rains, the whole thing would shut down. So yeah, it's not just Ford, but it's still
yeah, not to
frustrating.
everybody.
Yeah,
And plus, with
so-
the new computer controls and stuff, I mean, you can have a software bug that can kill the car. I mean,
Well, but you had the big issue. If your car goes dead and it's -40, that battery is junk, and that costs as much as the dang car. So,
yeah,
fixing
well, the EV battery
is-
actually went through it no problem because it never got drained all the way. But the main, the regular battery that fires
Oh,
up the
the
heater
reg-
and everything else, that's
okay.
the one that got drained 3 times while they were trying to. Because when that actuator blows, it leaves it in a locked state of electricity on. So until you unhook everything, it's just draining battery power the whole time.
Yeah, so it's killing the 12-volt battery.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So they gave me a
Your-
brand new 12-volt battery as well as fixing it. So
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Well, standard car 12-volt battery like we have in our gasoline cars.
yeah, the EV
Okay.
battery's
Yep.
fine. I mean, I've
Okay.
even in winter, I
Oh,
didn't know how much I'd actually get electrical power because it's one of those ones that's based on the braking and stuff. It's not a full blown hybrid. And I've actually had even in -30, I've actually had the electric motor kick in a few times, so I'm still saving a bit of gas. So
Nice.
Neat.
Well, one good thing is you don't have to talk about it no more because
yeah,
It works now. Yeah. Just use
yeah.
it.
It's handling Canadian winter. I mean, that's a pretty strong positive for it there. So
Right. Canadian
Still
summer
better
is
than
nothing.
UPS, right?
yeah, UPS. Don't get me started.
Yeah, well, we make fun
UPS
of
wouldn't
Fords,
even
but
refund any money here. At least Ford covered this under warranty. It's free and gave me a loaner car for free, and
Right.
the whole thing there. UPS just basically said, "Nah, we screwed up, and it's your problem."
Too bad. We're sorry.
yeah, well, we pick on Fords, but I've had 3 of them.
Yeah, this is my 4th brand new one in a row, and this is the first time I've ever had problems with them. Since 1988. How many years is that? 30 something.
Definitely.
Anyway,
something.
enough about Ford talk. Even though
Yep.
Ron had that logo up for a bit.
1988. Holy crap, you're old.
Welcome to the Ford Nation show.
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, Kevin.
Okay, so do we want to do the game on results and then we'll take our break?
I don't know. All the people there are gone, aren't they? Oh, is Ken there?
What? Yeah, no,
Ken's
I'm
here, Sloopy's here.
Okay, they're actually here. They just went switched. I figured they'll walked away to get a pre-nap in.
Because it's a little
Oh,
early
I'm
to take
here,
our
it's
break.
hot.
So,
We've
All
only
right.
been rambling for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's only been 20 minutes since we started. We're not unionized, so we don't get a break yet. Yeah, I'm not used to that. Yeah, I'm gonna keep them a little more.
And then news will be long because there's 2 weeks worth. So
Pack a lunch, bring your pillows.
Here we go.
Okay.
Whether it's been 1 week or 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. If Curtis is doing the news, it's going to be long.
You say it like.
Welcome everybody to the CoCoNation Game On Challenge of the Week results video. This week we played Q-Man. We had a total of 14 players.
Wow,
we
awesome.
had Mark B with 2580, Ed Rhodes with 2740, Mark O with 4100, Wingnut with 4650, Mike Zweifel 6060, Retro Rick 8530, Rich N 8710, Canadian Retro Things 9130, Sloopy Malibu 12,180, Doug V4850 15,000, Fred Provencha 15,970, Coconut Bob 24,390, Tasman 61,830, and this week's number one score belongs to Dr. Ted with 67,500. Thanks everybody that played, and we'll see you again next week.
And the CoCoNation salutes Dr. Ted.
Salute! Normalcy is restored.
Yep. All right. So, let me see here. This is earlier than I was expecting to do this. Okay. There. Okay, I found one review in Rainbow, April 1983 or 4. Which was it? 1984. So, the guy basically talked about it here, and they says that they did a pretty good job in converting this arcade game for the Coco. Then he went to kind of rip it apart quite a bit. The graphics need some work. Cannot say they are bad, but I cannot say they are good. The game's creatures are a little hard to distinguish, and the sound is also disappointing. So, it's a good game, but the graphics and the sound suck. The documentation, however, is superb. So this is especially for Nick that I brought this part out. The game is very well explained. He wishes all software publishers would take as much pride in their documentation as Genesis did.
Well, I used to.
Then he found out those dang users ignore it anyway. So,
so Q-Man is playable and very challenging. If the game's graphics were improved with a little polish was added, the playability would carry it into the ranks of classics. So, I'd
basically agree with that review because if I remember, it doesn't actually even mask the characters onto the background. It has this little black box around it. If I remember, is that right?
No, not this version. This version not as bad as some other versions. But yeah, I mean, they're not that distinguishable. Like the snake is more of a white blob than a snake.
It's a giant E because it makes you go E.
There you go. But all in all, like you said, I mean, I think it's a very playable game, and the sound and the graphics really, if they were a little bit better, more like some of the other versions of Qbert that we have, then it would definitely be ranked up there as one of the best.
Yeah, and Genesis Software wasn't known for doing arcade games. I mean, they were famous for doing graphical adventures like Enchanted Forest and Bigfoot and some other stuff like that. So this was kind of a... Plus, those were written in extended BASIC, so this is a bit of a change for them to have a machine language arcade game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, does anybody have any tips or tricks for this game other than I think I mentioned last week, if you're playing on an emulator, crank the CPU up as high as you want and it seems to run a little bit smoother. It's a little more reactive to the joystick.
So it's frame locked, but it speeded helpful.
Speeding it up definitely reads the joystick a little bit better.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I was understanding like some people were saying that the joystick controls were a little bit weird. Is that just because of the emulators, or is that something on the real thing too?
No, but in this game you have to go to the diagonal to move. Like in most other Qbert, in most other Qbert games, when you push down, you go down and you go to the left down, and if you go to the right, then you go down and to the right. So it's.
Oh, I'm more used to the diagonal ones because that was like blockhead and.
I found it actually you could get going pretty responsive on. I was playing on a real CoCo3 with 6309 and the Gimme Z, but like because the Qbert, it's up down diagonal stuff. You get the joystick, you just go like flip on the joystick. It's like flip, 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 flip.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's actually worked pretty good.
I mean, the responsiveness of the joystick I don't think was a huge problem. It just sometimes if you got into a situation where you're trying to escape the snake or the ball or something, and
you got the end.
Yeah, you would be like, no, go.
So can't you just turn your joystick a quarter of a turn and now you're
I don't
diagonal?
But I think this is more no, you are going on the diagonals here, so you gotta go like that or that.
Right,
or
but you
that
have to really
joystick.
go on the diagonals instead of up and down, right? Then if you turn your joystick a quarter turn, now you're really going up on the diagonals, but you're
going up and down,
but down are still working.
Yeah, your reflexes are working, but you've got to wrap your brain around if I push up, am I going up to the left or am I going up to the right?
That's why I prefer the diagonal controls because you know exactly where you're going.
When you use the diagonal controls, you know exactly. The thing that it really kind of messes you up is if you're using your keyboard as the joystick and you have to actually press two buttons to move in.
Oh, right,
direction.
like down and left arrow to go lower left.
Yeah. But, I mean, mostly, I have to say I prefer the diagonal movement of it. It locks onto your brain better of if you push down into the left, you go down into the left.
Yeah, exactly. I can see it being a bit odd on keyboard controls because trying to hit two keys at once every time you have to move, it'd be a little bit awkward.
Especially on my keyboard.
One thing I have noticed is that when the green thing goes over the ball, or the ball goes over the green thing, sometimes it will make the green thing disappear. Other times it will just follow the ball.
Depends on what color palette you're using.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it actually, the green thing, the thing that reverts the squares.
Oh, okay.
It will.
See, I never had a green thing on the particular color palette I was playing.
Yeah, the thing that reverts the squares. Sometimes it would just go away when it would go when it
would get killed by the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, but other times it would just follow the ball. So getting to it sometimes was difficult if it stayed on the ball.
Yeah, just more points for turning the things back to the right color.
Yeah, but one thing I did notice is that the green thing always went down the left side or right side. So when you have one of them on the screen, your best bet is to clear out the center and then go and do the sides where they come down.
But you also get points for killing that thing, so.
Yeah, so clear out the center and then you go and kill it, but don't bother with the ones coming down until you have the center done, and then go and get those done. But while you're doing that, all the while you're playing is going and killing the green things when they show up.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. So, anybody else have anything to say, or? of all the Qbert, I would have to say of all the Qbert clones on the CoCo, this is definitely one of them.
Higher praise has never been given.
Lower praise either.
No, I know there's a few people that really, really dislike this game.
It's definitely not as polished as some of the other ones, like
Yeah, I'm not going to mention Jim
Rise.
I'm not going to mention Jim Rye's name because he didn't even post a score this week.
Worse than Predator?
Well, let's not get insane here.
Yeah, let's not get insane here. I mean, Predator is by far the worst game ever released for the CoCo. It's almost...
If this had came out earlier, like, I can't remember what year Qbert came out on the arcade. It was 81, 82 or something, wasn't it? Like, if it come out, like, was it the first one? It wouldn't have been bad, but there was already better ones out, I think, by the time Q-Man came out. Like, Blockhead, I mean, it doesn't do the pyramid shape, but the controls are really nice on that one. And
But I do have to say, as the control goes on this game, it's pretty good. It's just the other stuff that needs polishing. Like, if it was a better looking game and better sound, then I think the review was right. It would be definitely one of the better Qbert clones on the CoCo.
Yeah, and I think we have at least like 5 of them, so there's lots to pick from.
Actually,
the most interesting one I saw was actually from the Dragon. I think it's called Pogo Joe. It's Semigraphics 24, and each screen has a different maze of the cubes.
Yeah,
so it changes the structure every time. That one looks cool. I haven't actually played
that. I think there's a lot more than 5 because on the live show, Coconut Bob found a couple of basic versions of Qbert that were.
Yeah, it was one in the OS9 EOU. There's a basic one in there too. So
yeah.
But I think there was at least 4 or 5 commercial ones too.
There's a top-down version of Qbert.
So I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Would be different.
It's definitely different.
But anyways, I guess the other game that we're playing this week was Fahrfall. And I know there's 2 versions of it out there. There's the original version and there's the pandemic version. So I did mention on the show last week, you can play either of them if you have them and just submit scores. So I'm not sure if one is easier or harder than the other or what. But
I don't remember. I do have the cartridge version of it. I can't remember if that's the pandemic version. I think it's the original version, actually.
I think it is, yeah. The original.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's what is there to say about Fahrfall? It's a game where you just gotta keep dropping down from level to level.
Yeah, and it's based on what is it, a Vectrex game, Nick? I remember you researched when you did your basic version.
An Atari game, I thought.
Oh, was it Atari? Okay.
I think
a 2600 game, but
well, there was a bunch of versions released back in the 80s of kind of.
I think it was called Fall Down.
Yeah, there's Fall Down for the Atari 2600. I know that.
Yeah.
And I know there's one for the Vectrex.
Never heard of that.
As a matter of fact, I think Fall Down was played on Sibling Rivalry many episodes ago, because it's one where you can actually play 2 players against each other. They're both on the screen at the same time.
Same time, yeah.
Yeah. But one thing about this game, it's almost too colorful. The waterfall in there, the firefall stuff in the background, like the lava streams coming down in the background with all the different pixelated colors. Definitely, if you play the game for a while, starts to just mess with your eyes. Just the movement of it, after you're done playing, it's like you're still kind of seeing that.
It's kind of like watching that one Sockmaster demo where the whole screen keeps morphing on you for a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like when you get out of a loud car, you can still hear the exhaust after a while.
Yeah.
It's impinged on your
But it also, after playing it for a while, you can start getting distracted by that just from staring at it for so long. You start having trouble seeing your guy on the screen. At least I did. But, yeah, I mean, it's actually a very smooth running game, so I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Anybody else have anything to say about Fahrfall?
No, not off the top of my head. Like I said, there are a couple versions out there. It's based on an earlier games from the 80s. And Nick did one. I can't remember, Nick, did yours even run in 4K?
No, you're talking about my Waterfall game.
Yeah. Which Ken called a ripoff, by the way. Ken Riker.
Yeah. I think it's a 16K.
Okay.
It's an homage, isn't it? That's the French word for ripoff.
There you go, for ripoff, yes.
Yeah.
Also, there's a comment in the chat here from Frederick Provencha, who hasn't been on the show for a while, but feel free to come back on sometime, Fred. Talking about the Qbert clone, Qman. He said, what makes this version of Qbert easier is how easily you can outrun all the baddies. Still challenging, but you can get corners, and it's also easier to avoid falling off the edge. Get cornered, I should say.
Yeah, I noticed he posted a score.
Yeah. A good score, too.
He also mentioned in the chat it was his second time playing the game this go round.
Beginner's luck.
Now, one thing I was going to say about Fahrfall is that if you're actually interested in how John made the game there, that was John Linville that made it, wasn't it?
Yeah, John Linville.
Yeah.
So he does have a bunch of like making of Fahrfall like blogs and stuff, so you can actually look at the process that he went through in making this and all the extras, like the extra sound card and stuff that he made for it. And I think Marco, you did post that in the channel, didn't you? At one point, I think I read that.
I was just about to ask, what's the website for that? But it's a very unique Coco title, but I bought mine at a Coco Fest right from John himself there.
Yeah,
like, this is
I
neat.
got mine as well.
I want one.
I have the exact same case and cartridge that Jason showed earlier. I'm just not going to go dig it out of my closet at the moment.
I got mine right here. It's very orange.
Yeah, even the case, the injection molded
box
case
is orange, and we have the orange cartridge. It's very
well. It's all about fire. Come on.
It's very ornage.
Oh,
I think there has been some kind of documentation or something in there. I think there's instructions in there, but they're stuck in the box right now.
Yeah, who uses those though? I mean,
instructions.
Right.
I think Morantes remembers instructions. Oh, here they are. Oh, see. Oh, here they are. They're very colorful. There's that very colorful, distracting stuff that Ken was talking about. I could see where you get distracted by that.
Especially when it's moving on the back of the screen constantly.
Oh, it's really neat looking, though. I'll give it that. It is.
Oh yeah,
it's very unique. It's very neat looking. It's a great use of the semi graphics, and it's kind of like one of those magic eyes after a while, though.
Yep, you start to see shapes in the background coming at you, trying to grab your guy.
Right.
Just because you're distracted by shiny objects or colorful objects doesn't mean they shouldn't put all those nice colors in there. I mean, it is a color computer.
Just like Nick Morenti says, bring color back to the color computer.
That's why he was using semi-graphics for a lot of his stuff.
Hey, I would just like to point out that it's the color computer. It's not the colors computer, as long as you have one color on there.
Well, technically, white is a color, so then we can
there you
have
go.
like
Green.
On that line, turn up the boost on your shirt, Ken. It's a little faded.
Yeah.
Aw,
Yeah,
come on, I like this
Turn
shirt.
up the chroma, man. It's not colorful.
It's definitely muted for a Ken shirt.
Yeah, that's very conservative for Ken.
It's like pastel Ken.
There you go.
It's a somber Ken shirt this week.
Somber Ken.
At a distance, it looks more paisley than pastel.
There's
Well,
not
come on,
enough purple to be paisley.
It's blue, orange, about 5 different shades of blue. I think there's some pink in there.
What are they, orchids?
I think he just hasn't washed it.
Oh, he has washed it. It used to be red and bright blue, and
I have
now after all the coffee spills, it's just kind of muted itself.
yeah, muted and pale and bleached.
I have no idea what kind of flowers they're supposed to be, but there's lots of like leaves and stuff.
He washed it with his whites.
Right. Mark Overholzer in the general chat here for those watching. He's put a post, the link to the Fahrfall blogs that John did for the development of the game.
Oh, neat.
Southern pronunciation, Fahrfall. It's far away.
Oh, there we go. We got some pictures of me. Is that Kevin Holloway's throwing up some pictures of my less muted shirts?
Ah, there you go.
And less muted.
A real
Toques,
Ken.
too.
Wow. That's next week's outfit.
Well, I got a good one for next week.
Possibly holiday themed.
I don't know. Is there a holiday coming up?
Yeah, New Year's. What are you talking about?
Boxing Day. Are you kidding?
Yep, my Boxing Day shirt.
What's that one song? It's like, it's beginning to look a lot like Boxing Day.
Like Halloween or something? Yeah.
Then we should play Sokoban. Boxing, remember?
Play, what is it? Play the one with you move around the crates there in the warehouse.
Yeah. That's what Boxing Day, isn't it?
Yeah, the forklift game.
Oh, that's
You're right.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, there's also the DICOM game, Knockout,
Threat?
which is a boxing game. So
I think it's Bomb Threat, isn't it?
Yeah, Bomb Threat.
Bomb Threat.
Willie's Warehouse.
Willie's Warehouse, yeah.
There you go.
All good games for Boxing Day.
Totally
That's not
wrong
what I chose
boxing.
for this week. But before I get into what I chose for this week, we should take a look at the live Game On Challenge.
Did you pick Knockout for the Boxing Day? Knockout?
Oh yeah, we do have a game like that on here, don't we? No, I did not.
I can't remember if we played the one already or not.
That's a
No, we
DICOM
haven't.
game.
What the heck did I put that? Oh, excuse me. All right, so Sloopy, if you want to talk about the live show there, it's playing.
Oh, cool. That looks like the Game On Challenge Live.
That is the Game On Challenge Live.
Look at that distracting waterfall.
Well, imagine that.
Firefall.
Yeah, we played that the other day.
Yep, we did.
Oh,
I just thought I would jump forward there, and you can see there's a version of Qbert that Coconut Bob is playing, where it's top-down version.
That's the basic one?
That's a basic one. I think he found a couple of basic ones.
I've never seen that one before. Is that from a magazine or?
Yeah, that looks pretty basic.
I don't know where it came from.
Checkers game?
I think it said Claude in the remark statements.
There's another basic one that he found.
Yeah, that one looks similar to the one that was written in Basic 09 but included with EOU.
Although that one, I think, Bob, didn't you have to put the double speed poke on it to make it playable?
Yeah, and then it was a little too dang playable.
Something that you never hear about a Nick Marenti's game.
That's
Too dang playable?
Yeah.
I disagree. I think Nick Marenti's games are very playable.
Most of them didn't say playable, said too dang playable.
Yes, too dang playable.
Actually, for Basic, that's not bad, that one there, honestly.
Yeah. But don't worry, I didn't pick it.
Ah.
We won't play that one for at least a couple of weeks.
Cool. But, yes, more serially. Yes, we had a great show Thursday. We had, I think, up to 7 people playing. But I could be wrong.
6 for sure.
Yeah, there. Keep going right. Wasn't that like? Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe go left. It was. Yeah, there. 7.
There we go.
See, I'm not as dumb as I look, or as better testing as indicated.
And somebody's playing one of the alternate ones. Is that Cubics or Q Star Burr?
It's one of them.
One of those.
I can tell it's not blockhead because it's still a triangle shape.
Yeah, but it was quite popular. It was that's interesting artifacts. But yeah, it was fun was had by all. I didn't hear very much pitchforks and torches. There was one thing missing though, and that was you.
Curtis.
Why were
It
you
was
not
Curtis.
there?
Are we pointing at Curtis?
Well, if it wasn't for a job ending up being stretched out over several days, that should have been here on Monday. I might have actually made it. I was going to try to, but
if the shoe fits. But yeah,
I ended up finishing it last night at 10:30. So,
Hey, he got a note from his employer. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
He's his employer.
But he can forge the signature because he is his own employer.
Yeah, well, I was 18 in high school and I gave myself permission slips. What's your point?
My school would not do that. They said, they wouldn't take that. I tried.
So, but yeah, it was a great time. And you, besides Curtis, you weren't there either, so you need to be there.
Well, when can they be there if they want to join us?
If they want to be there and not get called out like that, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, on the Discord, the Coco Discord, in the Game On Challenge Live channel. You don't even need to have your Coco set up. You can play on an emulator. You can even play on a web page. And even if you don't know how, you can join us and we will show you. So.
Online tutoring, it's a thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tech support.
Online school.
Online tech support. Now, I guess that also brings up an interesting question. Considering Christmas Day is 2 Thursdays from now, are we having a show for those of us that are sick of our families by the evening of Christmas?
I'm sick of my family now. What are we going to do then?
Say that
Well,
a
you
little
just
louder.
have to.
Yeah, say that a little bit louder, Mark.
No, my wife might hear me.
You won't have to worry.
Don't worry, we'll put the timestamp in the show notes.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to worry about it if you say it just a little bit louder. You don't have to worry about it at all. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, are you going to be there, Ken?
I might. I don't know yet.
Well, I don't know either.
I guess the big thing is we could still have not necessarily a broadcast show, but if you want to show up into the Discord, we can still play some games. And if there's somebody that wants to stream it there, then we can stream it.
Yeah, I'm a heathen. I don't really celebrate Christmas much, so I will definitely be there. And if we get enough people to stream, then I guess we can stream.
And what's our limit? 3 people?
2 people and 1 Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and a
because
third round draft pick.
That's an interesting division there.
Yeah, because the last time we were streaming without a Canadian, and they were writing up the paperwork for our fines. But
the CRTC fined you. Yeah.
But finally, a Canadian showed up, so they.
So we're on probation now.
You have to be partial.
At least 16 years old.
Yeah, we're.
That's only for Australia.
Australia. Well,
We have to be at least 16.
We need an Australian Canadian. Wait, I don't want this.
That would make for an interesting accent. Good day,
Well, no.
eh?
See, you have to have a Canadian to broadcast in Canada, but you can't have anybody under the age of 16 to broadcast in Australia. So it doesn't matter if there's an Australian or not.
So they don't have any kids shows in Australia?
Not on social media.
That's their new law there we're making fun of.
Yes.
The fact that
They've
anybody
gone
under
overboard.
16
Yeah.
isn't allowed to have social media anymore.
Yeah, we're being very topical today for some reason.
Yeah.
well,
We're being topical on a show about 45-year-old computers.
We're being topical like a topical antiseptic.
Can we start talking? Can we start talking about streaming TV shows that are 45 years old about a 45-year-old Ford?
I didn't know Gerald Ford had a show.
Right. No, he's older than 45.
Well, maybe at the time he wasn't.
All right, so shall I show what the game challenge for next week will be?
Please do.
Yes,
Get us out of this.
Please.
Okay.
Help.
No.
So in addition to Fahrfall for 1 or possibly 2 more weeks.
We have a game that was suggested to me. Now, I got to give some caveats here. This is the game here.
Ooh, caveats. Those are expensive.
Red square?
Old colors.
Something
Got
6.
blocks. Must be for boxing game.
Right.
It's a
what the
tank.
heck is
It's a
that?
tank
It's
game.
a tank game, isn't it?
Tanks a lot. Called
I
tanks
guess
a
so.
lot, right?
I guess I'm gonna have to play this, and I'm gonna have to tank at it.
It's called Zone 6 or something, isn't it? I'm trying to remember.
It's called Zone 6.
Zone
Now,
6.
I played this for a little while, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing in it. I couldn't figure out how to score any points. I was killing things, but I never scored any points. So,
it's a Predator clone.
Anybody that actually knows more about this game, because there's no instructions, maybe give a little bit of a synopsis in the Game On Challenge channel to maybe let us know possibly what the heck you're doing in the game.
If
Did I
only
have a
there
score on
was
my
a
screenshots on my
website.
site?
So I have a question.
Okay.
That the words after the copyright, is that like the curse that you're supposed to say when you mess up in the game? Oh, Buckhurt?
Yes. Oh, and we're playing on level 1, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't figure out whether it was hard or not.
Okay, so we don't know what level, we don't know how to play, we don't know how to score. Good game.
There's your tips and tricks for.
So I'm
They
assuming the
score it
zeros
all.
in the top, like looking at the main screen here, like the 09, that's a timer that goes up as you're playing. The
Last
zeros
time.
in the other top corner, I'm assuming are your score. And then the numbers down at the bottom, I have no idea what they mean. So
yeah, that might be highest score on the top. And then
So
on the
yeah,
lower
you
right
may
is the
have
score.
scored and you just don't realize it.
Yeah,
Hey, I
it's
got it.
possible.
I got an idea. How about we go to L. Curtis Boyle's website of games and find out what it says about it?
There won't be any information.
Probably not
There's
on there.
there's not all that. Yeah, it's on there, but it's not that much information.
Yeah, it's basically a 3D perspective. You got a radar in the middle bottom there.
That's
So
a radar.
yeah, I can see the top down on radar, and there's the tank poking out from the left that you can see as the green square.
Yeah, so you got to go and shoot the tanks, and for some reason, there's also the blocks will move and attack you. So
Oh, cool.
It's a very
Attack
unfriendly
blocks.
town.
Attack blocks. I love it. The background comes out.
I think that they're doing that. I don't know. Maybe I was just a bad driver and I kept hitting them, but
Maybe
The
level
blocks
one
attack you and there's no score.
Maybe level 1 is just a training and you don't get any score for it.
it could
Did you
be.
try level 2 or 3?
No, I did not.
Make an interesting high score video. We're all zero.
Well, I can't figure out which one. Maybe the score is down there. Maybe that's actually your score that you're getting. I don't know. I was assuming that the top score was the score, but I could be wrong. Maybe Curtis is right, and that's the high score.
I haven't played in a while, so I can't remember.
I
I'm
don't
trying to
have
remember
no
what
idea what
company
the-
put this one out, though, because this was a commercial game.
Color something.
Because if we can find an ad for it, you might be able to get a little bit of a glimpse of what the game is supposed to be like.
Color Quest. Color Quest is the company.
I'll just bring up, Color Quest. So I'll bring up Curtis's site here, and we can take a look at what he wrote about it.
Which is
Not
quite a
much,
while ago, so I've
unfortunately.
probably forgotten most of it.
He said, "Watch out for them killer blocks."
He does have the author's first name, Otmar.
Yeah, because he did a couple Coco games. This isn't the only one he did.
So there you go. Zone 6 is an original 3D perspective arcade game. You travel through the city of wireframe blocks, trying not to run into buildings and shooting the aliens as you go. It also features a radar similar to Defender, showing your position, alien, and building positions. It's for a color computer 1, 2, or 3, 16K RAM, cassette or disc, joystick optional. So.
Trying not to run into buildings. Okay.
I think maybe then Curtis is right, and maybe I was scoring points in the bottom corner, and that's why the zeros at the top weren't going up. I don't know.
Right, and it's hard to tell if you run into a wireframe because it will go off screen on both sides, and you don't see anything in front of you. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I put the page up, so I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, we should see if we can find an ad in Rainbow for Color Quest, and usually they'll give you a little description, so it might give you a little bit more info.
It definitely makes a lot more sense that the bottom zeros there are your score, and maybe the other number is like your fuel or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
These are all just guesses. We'll figure it out as we play. So that's also the mission of playing this game, is as you figure things out, let us know in the Game On Challenge channel of what you figured out. But all in all, it is actually I was having fun at it, like driving around and shooting things and trying not to run into stuff, but
And then there was the game.
Yeah, and then there was the game side of it of killing the aliens.
So everyone turn in your screen cap and we'll figure out what it means later.
I'm assuming that the person that suggested this game probably knows how to play it a little bit better than me, so
Can you know who they are?
Oh yeah. Just a second, I gotta make sure I say the right name. That requires me looking back into yeah, okay, it was Retro Rick.
Okay. Like, he might know something about it, so that...
Yeah, so Retro Rick, if you're watching and you actually know some more stuff about Zone 6 than I do, because I was just fumbling around in the dark. It's like me going out on a date, just fumbling around in the dark without knowing what I'm doing.
You're oversharing again there, Ken.
So, yeah, didn't know what I was doing, so if you have any tips or tricks or strategies, or even to tell us what the heck you're doing in the game, just post it in the challenge game live channel.
Strangers in the night, exchanging gunfire.
I try to remember in the lower left part of the screen there, because I can see the screenshot Kevin's got as his logo right now. He's got that H, and I don't remember what the heck that stands for either.
Hi? Maybe there's a high gear or something?
Maybe.
Or...
It's been so long since I played it, I don't remember.
And he's got
But like you, I never had instructions,
point.
so...
Somehow there's a point on the bottom right. Yeah.
I actually got points in the top left.
Okay.
Can you screen share this, Sloopy, just so we can see what you're seeing?
Unfortunately, it went... Oh, there it goes. Let's see here. Share. Zones. No, that's not the right. There's the right one. Share. All right. Yeah, give it a second and it'll go back to the other screen.
Oh, you're just running the demo, or you're actually playing it?
So you played a game on
screen?
Yeah, I was actually playing it.
And did the points go up?
Oh, and here we go.
Yeah.
So
there's an
is that your score that you got in the last game? And was
Yeah.
it originally down on the bottom corner and then it went to the top corner after you?
No.
So there's a lot
Try
of
it again live
questions
there, just
there.
to see if we could see if that is actually scoring. Like if you shoot something, does it go up?
I couldn't find anything to shoot. I was just cruising along and just
Got
trying
points
not to
anyway?
hit things.
Was that your, what, are you
Also-
on level 1?
So
Yeah.
you could have distance and all kinds of things going on here.
All right. Let me try this again.
Ooh.
Oh, there's a guy to shoot.
Watch out for that block to jump out in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so much
The
for
yellow
not
guy in
knowing
front
when
of
you
you,
hit
you
a
want to
wire
shoot.
frame.
Oh.
Sloopy.
Yeah, try to shoot the yellow guy without running into buildings.
Or is the yellow guy him?
No, the yellow guy is the alien.
That's the guy
'Cause
you're
if
after?
if you shoot them, they explode.
Okay.
Ooh. Let's see that. Oh, there's a 1. Oh,
Well,
it
you,
disappeared.
you sure know when you run into the blocks. So.
Maybe H means that you've got a guy in your sight, or
Maybe. I don't know what the blinking red square is either.
The H means hello. Oh, jeez.
This is going to take some work.
there. Okay, yeah, you got 75 in the bottom corner there.
Yeah,
When
so I
you
think that's
shot
your
him.
current score, and the upper left must be your high score for the current session.
Oh, the number on the left bottom goes down when you hit stuff. 413.
So that'll be
63.
probably your shield or something, or
Yeah, there's
Your
a
hit
shield or
points,
something.
maybe?
yeah,
What,
it's
like
like
hit
a shield.
points. H for hit points, maybe?
It goes
it's a little
down
off
when you
putting
hit
that you're
stuff,
driving
so-
forward on the top view, but your radar's going sideways. That's annoying.
Right,
That is
right.
weird.
So you have to do this
Yeah,
translation.
turn your head sideways to read the radar, I guess.
And yeah, if you run out of something, I bet you die when that 263 hits 0.
Because that flashing green is when you hit him. You just hit him there, so your score went up.
Yeah. Okay, so that's
150.
the score in the bottom there. So I'm assuming as soon as you
When
die,
you hit a box, you're now we're down to 209.
And I get the timer for the rest of the level, I'm guessing.
So if you
I
hit
don't know
another
what
box,
Maybe you have to get that blue square during the timer or something. I'm not sure.
I have no
oh,
idea.
to win, yeah. 159. Yeah, don't hit any more boxes. You're going down, man.
or maybe the blue square is something to heal you if you run into it.
Oh, to
or shoot
get-
it.
Or fuel.
Maybe. Now you're into the second zone, I would guess, because you had this nice blank.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's funny how some of the buildings move after you. That is kind of neat. It's kind of like watching Monty Python.
Right. Oh, Blinky building. What does that
And
mean?
what's a blinky building? I don't have no idea what that is either.
On the screen above, it looks the same as a regular building.
Right. It's just. the
But it
regular
blinks,
sticker.
so it's got to be something special.
Yeah, so you got chasing buildings, blinky buildings, regular
Maybe shoot
buildings.
that blinky building and see what happens. I don't know.
Oh,
now
now
you're
we
doing
got
building
this.
go boom. Uh-oh.
Oh, that was like night vision.
There. Yeah.
What was that?
Night vision.
Now
Yeah.
we're in artifact colors. That was
The
awesome.
bottom right is the score because it goes up
Yeah.
there, and that's top
Yeah.
one is your high score. So.
Just for a joke, just try level 3. See if there's anything different.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
If it-
Whoa.
Maybe
That's
all
faster.
the boxes.
Yeah, it's different.
Ludicrous speed.
Smash, smash, smash,
And doesn't move
smash.
faster.
Now Sloopy can write the instructions.
There you go, Sloopy.
Yeah, that's your assignment for next week.
Oh yeah, and speed up doesn't make a big difference. It seems.
Go try to get that blue thing.
Oh, there you go. That's another smash. Oh, your hit number went up again. When you hit the blue one.
It went down.
It went down?
Let's try a blinky one. Nope.
It really went down.
But that number was moving and then it stopped moving when you died. So very strange. I have no idea.
Anyways, at least we know how to score it now.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he, wow. So when you hit with the black and white stripey mode, the left number counted, just rolled down for a while.
Yeah.
There's some kind of timer thing going on there.
Yeah, I say we talk to Retro Ricky about getting some directions on what.
Yeah.
the-
Hopefully he knows all the details.
Somebody, somehow, yeah.
But it looks like if you shoot things, you do get points. So that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you run into things, you lose your shield or
Lose,
whatever it is.
yeah.
That's all we need to know. Shoot things and don't hit things.
Yeah, don't die.
That's what I said.
Cool. So are you running this for the next 2 weeks then? Or are you going to still...
Yeah, I think so, since we're planning on the show on the 27th, I guess.
Yep, 27th.
Okay.
That will be when this game ends.
Ken pointed out that when H goes under 100, it goes to a green mode. Anybody else notice that?
We missed it, but cool.
Bob Emery's trying it again here. We can find out.
We're going to have to write the game rules as we play the game.
Yeah.
H must
be the first time.
Yeah, I think
Unless
H
there
is
happens to be somebody out there that has an original version of this and still has the instructions.
That would be
That'd
helpful.
be so nice. Of course, they won't say anything because they'd be promoted to reading them all.
Oh, yeah, then they could win.
Yeah.
But what they could do is just photocopy them and put them on the archive.
Holy cow, is your screen jumping there, Bob?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
There's a sync thing going on.
I don't remember doing that. Like, are you running on a Gimme Z or something? Or some mode switch that's screwing it up?
No.
Right?
Normal.
It looks like it keeps changing the start address of the video RAM.
Of the screen, yeah, and you're getting garbage sometimes, and you're getting, yeah.
I don't know. I want to try it on a Coco 1 or 2, I guess.
Is it on a Coco
maybe
3
it's
you're doing it now?
CoCo3 thing.
It's a Coco 3. Yeah.
And is it a stock Gimme or is it a Gimme X or Z?
Stock 87.
Okay. So CoCo3s might have fun.
Yeah, it's just doesn't seem to be that it's really enjoying that.
It's not dying though, so you
Yeah,
can
but
play
basically,
it.
from what I can tell, it's just supposed to be doing page flipping. That shouldn't be a problem.
And
with
it's
Coco 3.
there's a right. Then a vertical scroll off thing? What? I don't know.
No, it'll be interesting to see what everybody can figure out by the time this game is done on the challenge.
Somebody's working on it now.
Yeah, we're typing away.
That's me. I'm posting what the games are.
Oh, good.
Okay, we done with the game on challenge then?
We are done. Time for some snoozy newsy.
Okay.
Hello everyone, it's your good buddy, your good pal Amigo, and joined by that dastardly The Brent from ARG Presents.
You're watching CoCoNation.
I feel like that should have been longer.
The CoCoNation show would like to thank the following patrons. AC's 8-Bit Zone, Alex Gare, Alan Huffman, Barry Tompkinson, Boysen Tech, Brendan Donnie, Brian Walsh, Brian Weasler, Karen Askham, Coconut Bob, Daddy Burrito, David Ladd, Derek Smithson, Diego BF109, Don Barber, Eric Canales, Frederick Segard, Glenn Hewlett, Graham Wabke, Grant Leedy, Henry Gernhardt, Henry Strickland, Jason Warrens, Jeffrey Drywater, Jim Mullis, Justin Larson, Ken Reichard, Kevin Holloway, Mark Castellan, Michael Hill, Patrick Euland, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, R. Allen Murphy, Richard Harding, Rob Inman, Rocky Hill, Steve Batson, Terry Trapp, TJB Chris, Tom C., Tom Gundersen, Tom S., William Athing. Thank you so much, patrons. If you would like to support the CoCoNation show, sign up at patreon.thecoconation.com.
Hey everyone, I'm TJB Chris, and I'm watching the CoCoNation live show, and so are you. And probably shouldn't be pointing that thing at you. Enjoy!
The CoCoNation would like to thank our Discord boosters, Boysen Tech, Frederick Micro Hobbyist Sigard,
Glenside Computer Club, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, and Wingnut 2626. Please consider joining Discord and visiting the welcome section to see what the community has to offer. Just go to discord.thecoconation.com.
When you want the latest in TRS-80, Tandy, Dragon, MC-10, and all of their hardware cousins, no matter what it takes, or where news breaks, from around the world to your nation. The CoCoNation News with L. Curtis Boyle.
Okay, so before I get started, I'm going to do the game on news first, but I wanted to mention that the World of Commodore, which doesn't include other retro machines, was last weekend. And I had talked to Jim Brain on Discord, and apparently there wasn't too many CoCos, if any at all, at the show this time. There was definitely the last few years, because I don't think Jim brought any, and I don't know if Frank brought any. So not much to show there. I mean, there's some pictures that Jim's put up there, but it would be all non-CoCo stuff, so I'll just let you guys go peruse that on Facebook yourselves. But we'll have to make sure we get some CoCo representation next year. All right, on to the game on news. So the first thing is Amigo, Aaron, and the Brent have released their special CoCo holiday episode for the CoCo show. And this is featuring Tomix's Quicks game. And as you can see here at the beginning of the video, they actually have the Spectral Associates CoCo3 Christmas demo that they did for Tandy. That was the very first Christmas in 1986 after the CoCo3 was released. So this has like music and all kinds of stuff that goes along with it here. I don't know how many people have seen this. I remember the other CoCo3 demo running in the stores a lot more than this one, to be honest. So did you guys want me to play that and actually have a little bit of Christmas cheer here since Christmas is coming up pretty quick?
Yeah. If you insist.
Yeah, do it.
Oh, happy again.
Oh, that's public domain Christmas music.
Isn't it all?
No.
But it's specific performance copyrights. This is not performed by any human, so we're good.
Yeah.
The traditional carol music, so it should be good.
I also think this is sped up. I don't remember it running this quick on the real CoCo3. Oh, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just remembering wrong. As usual, Spectre put in little quirks like little mouse running into the tree.
Yeah, I always like that.
Right past the cat.
The cat's asleep.
Hello, everyone.
Anyway, you see, you even got the festive Radio Shack in the background there. But the game they're playing is the Tomix version of Quicks. Of course, there's some other versions too, like Kicks, how did they spell it for Spectral? QIKS, I believe. So once again, we have multiple clones of some popular arcade games. I won't play any of that. You can go watch the show itself. But I think the last time I was on, I was mentioning when they were doing the live recording. But for those of you who missed it, this is the actual released version, and you can actually do comments and stuff there, which they can cover. Oop. Should be fixed now. Since I yanked it out with my foot.
Oh no, that was another person. Never mind, we're good.
Yeah, one guy in the chat says Spotify owns public domain Christmas songs now.
Oh, right?
I thought it would be Disney.
Or CD Baby, but we won't get into that.
Now, the other thing that they released here, and they do this sometimes, but not every time, is that Aaron will record some gameplay footage they use during the show, but he'll actually give the recording of the entire gameplay. So this is like just over 10 minutes of him actually playing Quicks with no commentary. I think this is just raw gameplay. So if you want to see the game go through like a couple screens worth and, basically hear the sound effects, see the graphics without any cutscenes back and forth between him and Brent and any discussion about it, just raw gameplay. So you can get that one in this particular one as well. After that, we got some updates from Thomas Cherryholmes, of course, the guy behind FujiNet. And so you put up a video here that is showing 4 platforms playing the same game of 5-card stud. And he's actually made these nice little icons of the actual machines running. So this is the Atari 8-bit. Here's the Apple II. Here's the Tandy 1000. Here's the Coco. In this case, the Coco 1 and 2 version of it. There is a version of this for the Coco 3 specifically that has enhanced graphics and colors. And you can play, basically, if you have one of the Fujinet cartridges or one of the Fujinet devices, because I guess the cart's not quite released yet. But this allows you to play over the internet using your actual Coco hardware against all these other 8-bit machines from back in the era. And there's, I think, 3 games already out now that the Coco's involved with. The Battleship clone, which has a few rule changes from the standard Battleship, mainly because it's up to 4 players. And I think Yahtzee's the other one, too. So there's a few games here you can play against other ones, and you'll prove which 8-bit owners are the best players at these games. I'll play a little bit of the clip here. I mean, you can't see too much here because it's kind of small, but basically, each person gets their own turn. It'll actually tell you on all the screens whose turn it is as they're picking their card to play type thing. And then it updates everybody across the network. And the second one here, he showed Battleship and the Atari 8-bit and the Coco. So the Atari, the Coco version was actually one of the early versions of this one. I don't think it's on all the 8-bit platforms yet. And the Atari, I think, was just starting to come online at this one, if I remember correctly. So basically, you can see the 2 of them playing against each other. But this will include up to 4 players. So like I said, the rules are a little bit different than the old standard Battleship that we used to play back when we were kids. And maybe some of us still do. After that, we have a Retro Game Coders channel on YouTube. Did a YouTube short playing Space Assault. Now, he labeled the video as he's playing this on his Coco 2, a real one, you can see in the picture there. But he said repaired-ish. He repaired his Coco 3-ish, like he kind of repaired it. I'm not sure exactly what's not working on it. It seems to be running okay here. And the angle is showing here, you can only see the bottom of the actual playfield for part of it. But now, I don't hear sound on the game itself. Very loud. I can hear the joystick button clicking away, but... So I'm not sure if that's what he's talking about. Like maybe the sound's not quite working. But anyway, it's somebody I've not seen experiment with the Coco before. So hopefully he'll be doing some more videos and maybe some more gameplay videos. Next up, Noriko Mayagami. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing her name. We haven't covered her probably in a couple of years. She's the one that was going through a whole bunch of the old adventure games on the Coco in specific. So she was going through like Racket 2 and Bedlam from Tandy. I think she did some Infocom. I can't remember if she did any of the Sierra ones, but she was definitely doing adventure games. So this is a bit of a break for her. She's actually playing a strategy game, which is Wildcatting, which is, of course, the oil drilling game that you can play with up to, I think, 4 players. And basically, you basically have a randomly generated map where you've got your oil reserves. We try to find where the sweet spot is so you can get the best drilling, and then you have to decide when to sell it off. If it's starting to dry up and the prices are making it not worthwhile, you start to lose money on it. So it's a bit of a strategy. But she seemed to enjoy it. And she did mention in the video that she did play this as a child too against one of her parents, if I remember correctly. So that's kind of interesting too. Now, Wildcatting, because Tandy's in Texas and Texas is like oil country, I'm sure there was some cross pollination here. This one was actually made by image producers. I can't remember who the specific author was, but there was versions of this for some other 8-bit platforms at the time too, though I don't think I've ever seen any of them in action. I've seen their ad campaigns where they actually advertised it for, say, an Apple II and Atari 8-bit. I'm assuming everybody here has played Wildcatting at some point. I don't know if it's one we could ever put in the Game On Challenge, because it's kind of a different style of game and it really needs multiplayer to properly work here. I'll just play a little clip for those who have not seen this game before. So there you can see drilling depth, and now we just got a gusher at the depth of only 40, so it only costs $560 to make this one productive.
Okay.
Now she's getting some distortion on the sound there, and I think she might be using an older version of Xware because that did have some distortion issues on occasion, especially with multitasking, and especially if the focus was switching around, which I think Kieran's now fixed. I think he got that fixed in the latest version of Xware. Ooh. Next up, we have some Jim Gary. So Jim was a bit busy the last couple of weeks. So the first one here is he ported the Sandworm game, which was rewritten for the 4K Coco. from Rainbow Magazine in August of 1986, originally written by Pete Myers in 1985. This is a little odd because the 4K CoCo hadn't been on sale since, I think, late 81, maybe early 82. So to do a 4K game 4 years later when the CoCo3 was already getting released is kind of strange. But anyway, this one port here, because it's ported to the MC10, which also has 4K of RAM by default, this means you don't need any memory extenders. You don't need the Tandy 16K. You don't need the MCX 128. You don't need the SD32, whatever the heck it's called. This will run on a stock one. If you put it on cassette, that's pretty well you need to do. And it's actually a basic version of Centipede, in essence. Except, you know, some of the things shoot at you, but... And the O's are basically the equivalent of mushrooms, kind of. So it's based on Centipede. It's a little bit different. But not a bad little game for 4K. The next one he did here is called It's in the Box, originally written by Rob Lee in 1985. This was in the July 1986 or 85 issue of Dragon User Magazine, and it's a logic math-based game. So basically, you get some numbers and stuff punched in here, and you have to figure out where to place them to get the formula to work correctly. So I'll fast forward to actual gameplay. There's some instructions you can read, but as you know, Nick noted, who reads those?
No one does.
So you can see here, like you roll a random dice here, and then which box you put it. And you can see this particular formula that's picked here is that box A plus box B has to be greater than box C minus box D. So you have to place the numbers in the right positions to get that formula to work to get points. So it's a bit of a math logic puzzle game type thing. And like I said, it was originally on the Dragon. Now there's a version for the MC10, and of course that would be easy to port it to CoCo of the Dragon. You can just save it in ASCII and pretty well you're ready to load it in the CoCo. And the last one that he did is one of the stranger named games that I've ever seen. And this is from the January 1983 issue of Softline magazine. It's a text adventure game originally written for the Apple II. And it's called The Horrible Rotten Dancing Dragon Strikes. Originally written by Ken Rose. And this is one where Jim goes the extra mile because he actually mentions in his comments on the video that there were some bugs in the Apple original one as it appeared in the magazine, so we had to fix those as well. But it's basically a standard text adventure game. This is an 8-minute video. This, I will tell you, spoiler alert, he plays it right through until he wins at the end. So if you don't want to cheat and learn how everything is supposed to be done for that adventure game, definitely don't watch the whole video. But I do like the fact that he took the extra time here to actually have inverted text on the top to do your brief description of where you are, kind of like the Infocom games did. I think that gives it a more professional look. And it's a basic game, so you can, of course, go into it and figure out how it works. After that, I haven't covered him in quite a while. But basically, Game Huggers 3700 on YouTube, and he's also live on Twitch, which is where he usually live streams. He's played Downland and a few other CoCo games before. In fact, some of his videos earlier playing Downland, I think, were like an hour, 2 hours long. But he wanted to show this clip here because this shows if you're unlucky in Downland as far as placement of acid drops in yourself, or if you're just not paying enough attention, you can lose all 3 of your lives really, really fast, which is what he actually does here, which I thought I'd play. It's a YouTube short. So I'll play the whole thing because it's not that long, but it's kind of funny, especially his reaction. We realize is just, you know, how much he died here.
I could die and get to a spot where I wasn't before. Are you kidding me? Why do I keep doing that? Oh, awesome.
If he'd pushed up there, he might have caught that rope.
I think he missed the first rope, so he died, and then he gets up and left his joystick to the right, so he falls off the cliff, dies again, then immediately an acid drop hits him, and he's dead in the span of like 5 seconds. He's lost the entire game.
And he could have even made that first jump if he'd like pulled up to the right while he was in the air.
Yeah, he would have caught the rope, I think.
Caught that rope. Yep.
And on the second one, if he jumped off that cliff, you can catch the rope to the right there again.
And still live. Yep.
Now, I will say Downland is somewhat unfair at times at the spawning point of acid drops. Because if they're already in motion and you're spawning right below it, there's absolutely nothing you can do.
Nothing.
So, actually, we'll have a bit more on Downland a little bit later in the regular news, too. There's the person who's been kind of disassembling it and actually porting it over to modern platforms is actually going through some of the technical aspects So we'll get into that in a little bit. Next up, Retro Arcade Gaming, which is famous / infamous for doing comparison videos where they play the original arcade game and then they'll play a whole bunch of either official or clones or both of that particular arcade game on a multitude of systems ranging from, old 8-bit systems up to more modern machines. So this particular one is called Port Battles Qbert, which I thought was appropriate since we played Q-Man. Now, because there's so many clones on a lot of these machines, he's not going to play every single one. He picked 2 in particular for the CoCo in this case. One of them is the Cubics one by Spectral Sosis that we saw actually on the Game on Challenge Live stuff, which I think Bob or somebody was playing. And the other one he played is the CoCo3 specific one by Color Venture called Pyramix by Jordan Tsebetikov. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. I did find out Jordan was in the same hometown as a color computer club that Owlware used to run, or at least were some of the head guys there. And Jordan wrote this game. He was like 15 or 16 and then published it. And it's a machine language game. So he was one of those genius programmers that, started quite young, still in high school when he released this one. So I'll play a little bit of the clips here. It's kind of like going to skip forward from the original arcade and a bunch of the other clones. If you want to actually compare them all, though, the ones that he's covering here, here's a nice deep list here with the exact click links to every single version going from Game Boys to PlayStation 3 versions to Android and televisions that are 8-bits, etc. And then the 2 color computer ones. So that's Cubics by Spectral. It's even got some multi-voice sound for the sound effects a little bit. And it does the masking around the characters so that it doesn't have a little block.
Right.
But this was a pretty good one. I didn't mind this one myself. I'm trying to remember if this one actually had an option for speech pack. Because I know the arcade game has Qbert swear, sort of. Just as random gibberish noises type thing. Puts a little cartoon, word balloon for it. And Spectral did support the sound speech pack probably more than any other company. And then after that, he goes into Pyramix. And this is CoCo3 only, 128K required. Already using the vertical scroll there a little bit. Now he has the colors off a bit here. It should be RGB on the game and RGB on the emulator. And he's got it mismatched at the current time here, so the colors are a little bit off, but you can kind of get the idea for it. If you want to see what the colors are supposed to look like, you can hit my webpage entry for it. But he's using like palette shifting and stuff to do so like the rotating spinners. He's not actually redrawing it. You can see the effect on the words RGB to show you what mode you're in. It's both keyboard and joystick. I don't know, Ken, have we played this particular version before on the Game on Challenge? Assuming Ken's around. You may have nodded off already.
Right. This thing's really quick.
Yeah.
We played a few versions of it. I'm not sure if this is one of them.
Yeah, because it's to be the only CoCo3 version besides the basic 09 one on EOU. But it's quite well done, especially for considering, like I said, Jordan was 15 or 16 when he wrote it.
Right.
Next after that, this is a bit of a different one for us to cover here. So, YouTube channel of the Forseen Arcade showing a game called Bug Diver. Now, Bug Diver was originally released on the Dragon back in 1984, I think it was, by Mastertronic, which was kind of known for doing lower end software games and stuff here for a multitude of platforms, including multiple ones for the Dragon. And it's kind of an interesting one. It's kind of like loosely like Shark Treasure, which we have played on the Game on Challenge. That was an earlier computerware game from 1982, which is itself based on an early 1970s arcade game that the name escapes me at the moment. But basically this one here, somebody liked the game so much in the Dragon, they decided to port it to the Game Boy Color. So that's the version you're going to be seeing here. But the gameplay and stuff is pretty well identical to what the Dragon had. We'll skip the preamble stuff here. And this plays, I think, a bit faster than the Dragon one. It's definitely faster than Shark Treasure, but basically you're the little guy swimming at the top. You have to go down and gather the little red treasures at the bottom without getting eaten by a fish. And one thing different, Shark Treasure, they just move straight back and forth. They move at different speeds, so you have to kind of keep track of each lane. And as the game progresses, you get more and more lanes, so eventually they're all full, so you're really dodging, and then they get faster and faster. But these ones actually will turn around just in the middle of it, so it's kind of a much more harder, much more random than Shark Treasure was. Let's see if I can find where he actually succeeds here in getting some. Yeah, like here he just picked one up. And you can see that one guy that was moving really fast.
Ooh, you made it.
Yeah, and you get points when you initially pick up the treasure, and then you get more points if you manage to take it up to your boat. So once you get to the top, the boat will come to your position.
But this is just evil. The fish are supposed to swim all the way to the end.
Well, that's what Shark Treasure does. And we have played that one on the Game On Challenge before. It's actually one of my favorites from the early Coco 1 and Coco 1 era, I guess, from 82. But the dragon, I'm trying to remember if the dragon was as fast. I don't know if Kieran's in there or not. He might remember, or some of the other dragon people, Tom Erik Gundersen, etc. It'd be interesting to see if they remember going this fast or not. And the next one, and the last one for the Game On part here, we've played Mind Roll before. This is one where the cartridge actually has a bug, where sometimes you can't get off the first level at all, and had been patched later. But you get to pick what level you start on, so you can actually bypass the bug and just start on a different level entirely. There's quite a few of them. If you have a Coco 3, it does enhance color for the graphics. Otherwise, you're just using straight artifact 4 colors. Now, what this is here is not the Coco version. So this is a tribute to it. And he says it's based on Marble Madness. I don't think it really is. That's quite a different game. That one, you're just kind of steering through a maze in an isometric fashion here. This is more of a top view 3D, but you've got a whole bunch of different squares and things that will teleport you and pipes that you go through and all kinds of things. So maybe loosely on Marble Madness, but I wouldn't call it a clone. But what they've done here is they've actually, the YouTube channel is called Tika Car Music, and what she has done, or he has done, is redo the music with modern synthesizer stuff, like really expanded on it, but it's still the basic tune you might remember from the original game when we played it on the Game On Challenge. And then there's the music video itself was created with AI. So basically it's kind of taking elements of the game of showing the ball spinning around, going through all these different checkerboard style 3D mazes, whereas the original one's more of a top view. But I thought it was kind of interesting to see, somebody expanding the original 2-voice version of the song that Jesse Taylor did on the Coco port. And then also, the really enhanced 3D graphics here. I won't play too much of it because I don't know if it's a copyrighted song or not, but. This would have made it cool if it was actually played this way too.
All right.
Would be much harder because you can't see where the major.
Oh yeah, you got the little defender map on the top of the screen, and then you got to do this with your marble.
Yeah. And I'll play the whole thing. If you want to hear the complete rendition of the song, just hit the YouTube channel in the show notes. The show notes are already uploaded to our Discord. So anybody who doesn't know the drill here, basically, if you go and join the Coco Discord, there's a section under the show, the CoCoNation show itself. It's got several channels, and one of the channels there is the actual news links and the description of everything, and they're always publicly posted just before the show starts, or sometimes if Mark's doing it way before the show starts. He's a bit more timely than I am. I usually wait till the last minute. I don't want anybody cheating. I want these to all be surprises. So,
right.
So anyway, yeah, on the show notes there, you'll find the links to everything we cover on the news here, on the game stuff, the upcoming shows stuff, and on the regular news. So definitely check it out. But yeah, I thought this was a really interesting take on it, because you can definitely recognize the original Coco tune if you played it, but it's definitely expanded with, like, almost like European dance music kind of vibe to it type thing.
Well, when they drop the bass, these headphones, it really works.
Called EDA, electronic dance music.
Yeah, EDM. Or what does Boat call it?
Or
Euro
EDM.
dance trash or something like that.
Yeah, Euro trash. Dance trash. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that's it for the Game On news. So I will get on to the regular news, which is a much larger list of things to go through. Let's get switched over. And we'll start as traditional with the Dragon news first. Once I find the right window, I think that's the right. Okay, now Tom Erik Gundersen on the Dragon group on Facebook is compiling a list of Dragon games that require the analog joystick to play properly, i.e. it won't work well with just a digital stick, because the digital stick only does far left, center, right, top, middle, bottom, which a lot of arcade games were designed for, so that works pretty well. But yeah, definitely one of the things in the Coco that some people saw as a disadvantage, I always saw as an advantage, is it actually has analog sticks. I mean, if you add spring back and stuff, you can still play the arcade games just fine, like a deluxe joystick has. But you have the ability to fine-tune position of your cursor. This works great on games like Polaris and Defense, you know, our Missile Command clones, or Colorpede, Caterpillar Attack, and some of the other Centipede clones, Caterpillar by Aardvark. There's a bunch of them anyway. So he's trying to compile a list of them here. Now, some of them I don't know if I quite agree with. That they, you know, it makes the play better, or it actually is using more than just the standard 3 positions that a lot of them kind of emulated. Some of them definitely do, like defense on here. If you're looking at the screen, 8-ball, you have to position the cue ball whenever you drain it. You have to reposition on the table, for example. Plus the angles and stuff that you're hitting it with the pool stick, the cue, that definitely requires analogs. I definitely agree with that. Grand Prix, if I remember, at has subtle turns and stuff like that where you can actually change the speed. Caterpillar Attack, like I said, most of the games that are based on Centipede type thing will definitely be using it. But some of the other games here, I don't remember them actually having, you know, the subtlety of analog. Like Starship Chameleon, I remember playing it with the joystick. It's just straight up, left, down,
Well, he
right.
may be getting to
diagonals.
that point where some games switch at, let's say it's 0 to 63. Some games might switch at 16, not 0 or not 4. So there is a difference between analog and digital in far as how far you have to move the joystick towards its stop. So you could feel a difference in the game, even though
yeah, I mean, in my particular case, I would still view that as digital, just like where is the play within.
Well, yeah, but that's different. So the game feels different than if it was truly digital, where you hit the
like for me, it would be more like if you're
not.
playing Space Invaders, a Space Invaders clone, and let's say you move it to like position 0 to 10, you move 4 pixels at a time, and then if you do it from 10 to 20, you might only move 2 pixels at a time. Like the subtle where you can get speed differences. That's where I kind of was coming at it from.
Right, but I could see where someone might be influencing the sensitivity by adjusting where the switch happens. And
like
that's
Speed
not
Racer,
truly
for example,
digital,
you can vary your
know?
speed by how much joystick is moving up and down. It's not just, you know, slow, medium, fast. It's more subtle than that.
So if I throw an arcade stick in, all of a sudden now I've got to hit the stop to switch it, where before I only had to get about
you
a third
can't,
of
like
the
the
way.
games that actually use the position of the joystick to do the position of your man, like Space Assault and Galactic Attack by Tandy, Polaris.
Oh, those,
Defense.
no question.
Yeah. I mean, if you play a digital stick, you can go to the far left of the screen, the middle screen, and the far right, and nothing in between. Good luck. So anyway, he's been taking suggestions. I threw a few in myself. There's definitely more than that. Some of the games are a mix too, like Poltergeist. The first level, I think you do get, I think it's just diagonals when you're wandering around the streets. The stairs is definitely just digital, but the final stage where you're trying to shoot the poltergeist, but not at Marianne in the moving field, you definitely need an analog stick for that. So there's some games where, you know, it might depend on what level you're on too, but yeah, anything that has variable speed. And that was one of the things I liked about the CoCo analog sticks. You could do those subtleties. Not a lot of games did that because they're cloning arcade games that only basically had switch joysticks or digital joysticks, but we had the option of kind of doing both, and the Deluxe really handled that quite well because you could set your auto center, say on a racing game like Grand Prix by Computerware, where your left-right, I think, is mostly straight digital, but your up-down definitely had variable speeds. So you'd put the vertical on free float, horizontal on spring back, and it played awesome. Anyway, if you guys have suggestions, you can see on the screen here, and then there's, of course, a bunch of comments as people go on and add more to them. But if you guys can think of any of the CoCo or... Now, because these are for the Dragon, it would have to be a CoCo 1 or 2 game. Don't listen to CoCo 3 stuff, because obviously those are not playable on the Dragon. But if you have any other ones that were sold both on the other side of the pond and here that require the analog to get full use of the joysticks as the game was designed, then definitely go add to the list here. It's kind of interesting to find out what games do require an analog stick. Next about that, Julian Brown has been quite busy this week talking about a whole bunch of stuff. I'm actually skipping some of his posts because there's so many of them. But he posted here about a new design video board that he's working on while he's waiting for an earlier version of the same board to arrive that he's waiting from getting manufactured. This design does TTL RGB, both full and half intensity, so kind of like CGA did. And he's basically setting up these options here because this is part of his ATX Dragon, where you actually have a main motherboard that has slots. You can add in your own video card, your own sound card type thing, while still maintaining pretty good compatibility with the Dragon itself, depending which cards you have installed, of course. So he's kind of showing some of the mock-up here of the board. And then he did this other one here, Second build of his ATX design in the wild, all in the name of testing and refinement. The video board top right is a CPLD implementation of the VDG chip, the 6847, that incorporates the correct timing for both NTSC and PAL, although it can be reprogrammed to behave in other ways. Right now, NTSC timing works well, but switching to PAL, he says, still got to work. But you can see here, like here's the main motherboard cartridge, or the slots that we put in, and then some of these cards plug into those slots, and you can add in sound, the CPU board, video card, RAM, etc. So it's much more built like a, say, an IBM PC style or an Apple II style, where you just keep adding hardware with slots instead of just the one cartridge port we had on the CoCo, or having to get a multi-pack. But this goes right down to like the CPU and stuff having its own slot, not just ROM and external stuff like drive controllers. Next up to that, he mentions this one here. He said, I designed these months ago, maybe even over a year ago, and only just got to order them up. An upgraded NTSC board for my Rev 3 Dragon board. The original worked, but not as nicely I would have liked. So this is an attempt at improving it further. The only problem is I can't remember why some of it is designed as is. I really should have left myself more notes. I do this in software all the time. I go back a year later. What the hell was I doing? Why did I do that? But this is for his Rev 3 Dragon board is a replacement for the existing Dragon board. That's not the Dragon ATX that has the slots, and you can replace different parts of the main machine with it. This is more meant to plug in where the VDG socket is. I'm hoping I'm getting the right. If Julian's in the chat, he can correct me if I'm wrong. And the other one here that I'll mention here, which is going on to the video board as well. He said a bit more tinkering and is wired up with 3 caveats. No longer generates an interrupt for HS and FS. I feel rather nervous triggering NMI for those events, non-maskable interrupt. Static RAM will respond to video read requests from the SAM chip, conflicting with the intended memory read. The capacity to filter the read-write operation is there, but I need to wire it back in. And the memory is mapped to R2. That is an external ROM address space. Technically, this needs to be handled with the external ROM signal, or MEM signal, but I need to figure out how to make it play ball with the all RAM mode. It goes into a bit more technical details there. And then the very last post that at least I saw as of yesterday, I say this is basically titled a little more thinking on how to map a 16K video board into regular memory. So he's going to allow it to map on any 4K boundary, has the option of disabling the mapping so the video board effectively free runs. Basically, if I'm understanding that right, it'll keep the screen refreshed with whatever you're pointing to, even if you have video RAM completely mapped out of the main Dragon RAM. Right. And have an option to switch the mapped window size between 4K, 8K, or 16K, effectively page mapping the video RAM.
He's just recreated slow mode from the Sinclair, so you can throw up a screen, drop all video, think, and then throw up another screen. And given our speed, that doesn't mean stopping video. It just means less of a frame rate.
Well, is that what he's doing? Because it sounds like that's just an option where if you need all 64K RAM, you don't have to have it mapped in for the VDG to see it, right?
Right. So you throw up a video, you drop all your video RAM, you do your computing, and then you drop another video. It's really cool.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if this would run slower, or like if you leave the video RAM mapped in, I'm assuming since it's in the 64K workspace, the 6 and 9 Cs, you probably can change it as fast as you want.
Your frame rate may be slower, but you will see the video all the time. So that gives you room to do, this could be useful. I could see doing things.
Julian is actually in the chat. I just saw he said he'd been busy for weeks. So hopefully, I don't know, they're about 30 to 40 seconds behind us. Plus he has to type. So hopefully we'll get some further clarification on exactly what he's doing here. But that was the update he just posted yesterday. Next up that we have Abalore on YouTube. Doing an ABBA tape test with a Mr. FPGA various systems. So basically, this ABBA tape system, which actually is kind of cool because it actually looks like a cassette. If you remember from Rainbow or Coco Fest back in 2016 or 17, somebody were handing out what looked like cassette tapes, but they had a little USB connector to it, and you'd actually like store games and stuff on it. And this is kind of like that, except it's meant for multiple systems to simulate a tape machine, so you can load in cassette-based programs on a whole variety. In fact, I think they mentioned some of them in the comments here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, like an Acorn Electron, a Spectre Video SVI 328, Dragon 32, a Tangerine Orc 1, and the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. Of course, I'm just going to skip to the Dragon part here, but it actually looks like a pretty cool little interface. You have the timestamp. But you can see here, like he's going through the menus, and the controls are actually right under the tape, and they're kind of like touch controls on the fake cassette itself. And you can see the audio cable just coming out of it. And it's got a little mini screen in the middle, so you can see what you're selecting, what you're loading. So it's a cool way to implement this type of thing.
Yeah.
I had the link before.
So the question is, can you play
here we
the
are.
tape in a cassette player and have it load?
Now, this is actually not running on a real Dragon. This is running on the Mr. FPGA, the hardware emulator that I know is quite popular in the Amigo side of things. And here you load Dragon Tet, which is a 2025 version of Tetris using Semigraphics 4. I don't think I've seen before, or if I have, I've forgotten. But it loaded it up fine, as you can see there. So the one nice thing about this one, if you're a retro collector of a bunch of the UK-based machines or European-based machines, and you don't want to have like a separate piece of hardware to load software onto all these old machines for every single one, this will actually be cross-platform, as demonstrated the 5 they showed here, including the Dragon. So that's one nice thing about it, is that you don't have to buy different hardware. You don't have to buy like a CoCo STC for the CoCo and a whatever for the Sinclair Spectrum, or that type of thing. You can have one that will actually load them all. Next after that, Chris Poacher on his microdeal group on Facebook, which I believe is a closed one. I think it's private. You have to apply for it. He'll prove you no problem at all. He's also active in the Dragon group as well too, if you want to just ask him. But definitely should join it. It's got a lot of cool history there. And of course, Microdeal was one of the, if not the main software game manufacturer for the Dragon. They actually brought a lot of the stuff over from the States and Canada and Australia to sell. And plus they had a whole bunch of their own stuff, and they sold for other platforms as well. But basically what he has here, he finally found a nice copy of the old Your Computer magazine. Now, if I remember correctly, Your Computer was actually one of the ones that was published weekly, and it was a cross-platform. It's kind of like Compute was here, or Creative Computing, or Byte, where it covered a bunch of different systems. But one of the programs that he remembered seeing back in the day was called Dragon Disco Lights. And the source listing is actually in there. So he's going to type it in over Christmas, and we're actually run it and see what it kind of runs like here. So I can click on these to kind of zoom it up. So here's the cover of the Your Computer, September 1984. And they mentioned here, Hell's Bells and Filing for the Dragon. And here's part of the listing, even a Michael Jackson here. In the background, there's a hex loader. So I think there's might be some ML subroutines in here. This actually might run at a pretty good clip, but I'm not sure exactly how it works or what it does. So I'm hoping Chris will follow up with a video to kind of show it in action if he does get it all typed in. And I don't know if Your Computer actually gave tapes or discs away with the actual listings pre-typed in, especially considering it was multi-platform. But it's not impossible. So,
is that a checksum list we're seeing there under Program Z? I bet it. So no, up in the next to Mikey there. Yeah, it looks like if you type it in, you should have a 551.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a rainbow check style thing. Yeah, could be. And it also mentioned some routines that are calling in the ROM directly here too. So I'm kind of interested to see what this looks like.
All right.
Okay, so just to follow up with Julian, since he's caught up on the typing here, is that swapping the video out completely from the address map just means you can reorganize whatever is held in RAM without losing or messing up the display. Makes no difference to compute speed at all, and you could safely run the full double speed without losing the display. So, the old Sam and BDG going nuts.
Well, that was my whole fast and slow speed thing. Yeah, you draw your display, then you go into fast mode, and the display hangs at whatever you left it, and you do whatever random crap you want, and then you go back into I'm going to show a display frame, and then you turn that off, and your display hangs, and you go do what it. So you have a lot more flexibility to just use the entire 64K for whatever you're doing.
Yeah. And the fact it runs at full double speed, because the original SAM and VDG combo kind of loses RAM and refresh and everything else, and you get all garbage all over the screen. It does run faster, but it's you can use it for computing. Basically, you can't see anything.
That would be very handy 30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, this will basically allow your Dragon to run at full double speed for one. That CoCo3
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, if I remember, one of his video cards, I don't know if it's this one or one of the other ones that's for the ATX, but he actually has it expanded to have like 40 column text and 16 colors, type of thing too. So there's more opportunity there as well.
Oh, right. You could use more RAM than you can actually afford for your video.
Yeah. Well, he's mentioning up to 16K. I mean, on a text mode, that's what, 80 column with attributes probably and color.
Right. And then you get all your 64K back for computing, and then that's cool.
Next up, Alan Huffman of Subethos Software fame. And we're jumping into Coco and general stuff now. So he's put a blog entry about the current Logiker, which is, I think, German programming contest for 2025, which is you have to basically produce this ASCII snowflake pattern in any language you want, on any 8-bit system you want. You can use it anything from assembly to C to basic, whatever. And the goal is basically to make as small a code as possible. And it's a very specific pattern you have to match to get the snowflake, and whatever cheats you can do. I've seen Mr. Dave 609's already done a couple on the Amigos one. He's done an assembly one for the Coco. He did one for, I think, the ColecoVision and some other machines too with Z80 processors and stuff. And I've seen other people working with BASIC and C and all kinds of stuff here. So Alan has never officially entered this contest, though he has occasionally blogged about him, just done his own solution for it, just for the learning part of it, and not trying to win the prize. He's got a link here to the direct one. Here's some of the ones you had to do in previous years, much simpler designs than this one. So this one's a bit more complicated. And then he followed that up. Here's the actual page for the competition itself. And they give you specific rules for each of the different categories. I won't go into those there. You guys can check that out. But here's his first shot at going and through it. And he's kind of like working on kind of an RLE compression type thing to try to get the size down. And he did it on the Coco 1 and 2, so it's a little bit too tall, which is allowed in the rules, because basically it just scrolls off. And I think somebody in the chat was actually, was it Retro Rick? Did a version where you can actually scroll back so you can see the whole shape with the arrow keys. So he kind of expanded on the original premise a little bit there. If you're running on a Coco 3, you've got enough vertical lines to cover this just fine, which he shows here when he's running in 40 column on a Coco 3. And then there's a bunch of people have been talking about, different ways to do it, and how there's, sort of duplicate patterns that you can flip and do on a 45 or 90-degree angles that you can compress the code, because you don't have to draw it once and then kind of interpolate it to the different quadrants or octants. Of course, Big Alan, and being near Christmas, that's the time he tends to be pretty busy, so he's been doing a bunch of other blogging too. So he's done both part 3 and part 4 of Color Disk Basic Disk Structure blogs. The first one here is actually something I didn't really know that much about either, which is basically what order and how does it fill the disk in what order with Disk Basic, depending on whether you're doing like a big file that's like multi-granules long versus doing a bunch of little files, because I thought it would just use the assignment of what granule to write to kind of in the roughly the same order. That's not true. It actually does it quite differently if you're doing a single big file versus a bunch of little files. And he shows the source code that he's tested here. And kind of some samples how it goes here. He also found a possible bug in there, because he said if he writes the very last sector, he gets a disk full error even before it doesn't close the final file. But here, like, here's an example here where he's writing out let's see here. Modify printer to the printer. And this is the order the granules getting written out type thing. So ours DOS allocates data on an empty disk, and you can kind of see the order it runs in. So there's your first one, there's your second one. So basically it's bouncing back and forth around the directory track, back and forth. Probably because when you're opening new files and stuff there, there'd be less seeking going from the directory to the track.
Right.
To find,
this is your run through until you run through interleave. So 0 and then 3 is the next one you can.
Yeah, so basically it's going like track 16, then 18, and then 15 and 19, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you write a big file, it doesn't do that. It starts at track 18 and just goes until it hits the end of the disk, and then wraps back around and starts back on 0 again. So if you're making a huge data file, it actually kind of optimizes it so that you can read track to track to track to track without having to go back and forth and seek. It just goes track.
So
18,
yeah,
19, 20.
When we're writing the file, we're actually sitting on the halt. Cool.
Yeah.
So it writes track 1 and it halts until track 1's written, and then by then it just writes track. This is weird. I'm going to think about this one. It's
yeah, I
interesting.
know William Astle and a few people were talking about it in the CoCo Discord here that this is definitely probably the more efficient way for doing a big data file, like say you had a BBS, users list or something like that, filling a disk. Because if you're scanning through it looking for a certain record and you don't have it indexed or something,
right?
Then it would make sense to just go track to track because you wouldn't have all this extra seek time thrown in.
Right, because you've already got your data. Just take it,
Plow
take
through
it, take it, take it. Yeah.
But when you're writing individual files, the fact it bounces back and forth to either side of the directory track, because the directory track's dead center. And that makes sense because if you have to go to the directory track to look up like the granule use table to see where the next granule for the file is, then it makes sense that you only have to seek half the disk rather than the whole thing every time to go find it. If it was on track 0, track 34, and you're already there reading something, and all of a sudden you have to go all the way back to 0 type thing. Well, going to the middle is a little bit shorter. But, is it more efficient? Because, I mean, that means any of the files you wrote first should be really quick off the directory track. You only have to go forward or back a couple tracks. But if you've got a disk that's nearing full with a bunch of little files, then it's going to be seeking all over the damn place all the time. So I don't know which way is more efficient.
Well, but I guess this way your big file ends up not segmented all over the disk.
Yeah.
As much as possible until it just runs out of adjacent tracks to use. So that probably
and of course it gets more complicated if you're using like ADOS or HCB DOS, where you can actually do 40 tracks or an 80 track or whatever else, because the directory track still stays on 17 to be maintain compatibility.
Well,
so
once,
now you got a whole bunch of seeks
to,
going way past and not as many on the beginning.
Once you go to 40, you've got the upside downside head. So you've got two tracks together, sort of.
Well, if it's double-sided, yeah.
It gets really complicated, yeah.
Yeah.
But this makes sense for a simplified, single-sided disk drive with a non-buffered controller. This makes all makes sense.
Yeah, I much prefer the buffer controllers because I did use those.
Oh yeah.
Also, another update from Julian Brown. He was talking about his video card there. He said there's 16 colors max with a 16K video RAM space. Uses a 6845, just like you were saying, Rick. With variable pixel clocks, you could easily produce an 80-column text mode on that board too.
Nice.
Then he went into CoCo Disk Basics Disk Structure Part 4. And this particular part here covers, let me find my note. This time covering the how disk space and granules is allocated and how it's different. So more source code to go here. More going through and checking out how things work. And mentioning that DF error again. And then the last one he did was actually nothing to do with disk at all. He was actually revisiting the DS69 digitizer, which Ron's very familiar with.
ASCII art.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the DS69 could read, I think it was, Ron, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 16 levels of gray or 64 levels of gray, which obviously the CoCo 1 and 2 in particular couldn't do very well. The CoCo 3 could gradiate with dithering a little bit. You could kind of simulate a 320 by whatever with dithering combined with the 4 grays, like black, dark gray, light gray, and white that we have on the CoCo 3. You get it pretty close. So probably the best way to do is dump it to a printer like Alan's little program here did, and just use the different text characters that are more dense to be the darker colors and less dense to be the lighter colors. And if you're looking at it from up too close, it probably just looks like a mess. But if you step away, like Rick's doing, you probably can't see that on the live stream, but then it actually looks like a proper picture. Now, he does mention he actually did a program to do this ASCII conversion here, which he didn't really remember that he wrote, but the effect is pretty good. And you kind of figure out which characters are different, brightnesses. One of the guys here in our local computer club, James West, did a program exactly like this too that he used back in the day for doing GIF picture dumps and stuff that he wrote on a CoCo 2. And you can see he shrunk the font to kind of give it a more fuller version with a bit more gradients. Here's one that's a bit coarser, etc. Next up after that, Tier C Retro Programming. He's been experimenting with VCC and actually getting into CoCo 3 programming a little bit with the VCC graphic calculator and 8-screen 2 color test. And and this is his first time going with CoCo3. So he likes some of the stuff in here, like the fact that you have HPrint. You can actually print text characters without having to reserve a bunch of basic program space to do draw statements or whatever to draw text. And it's also faster doing it this way. On the other hand, he still hates the edit command. He much prefer the 4-way cursor editing. I'm kind of in the middle on that one. I mean, it's better if you're trying to like duplicate a line, but change the line number or just do a subtle change. On the other hand, if you learn all the little commands that are built into the edit command, I can actually edit most basic programs faster that way than I can, do it with the 4-way cursors, honestly. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts here that do basic programming? What's your opinion of the edit command versus 4-way cursor control editors?
I want both. I really, the line editor works really good for a lot of repairs, but sometimes I just don't want to type in change blah 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 to blah 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 blah. And the edit command isn't fine enough to pick any specific spot in a line. You've got to be distinctive. So if you have repetitive strings in the same line, you're screwed.
Yeah. I don't know. I got kind of used to it because if you're, say, editing on a 32-column screen, I want to go 4 lines down. You just do 32 times 4 in your head, and you just go 128 space, and it goes down 4 lines instantly.
Well, that's good, but once you're in that line, then you have to you have to print out your, type in your whole match section, and then your replacement section. And I would rather just arrow back and forth within that line and. Maybe that's
like I said, for me, it's kind of like you. It's kind of like I would want both because I mean, there's definitely certain times where one works way better than the other.
Which is why sometimes I edit my basic programs in Dynastar.
Yeah, or a lot of people edit them on like in Notepad++ or some modern thing. Even like
although what you
Visual
really
Studio.
don't want to do on your Coco is have your program running in one window where you're editing it in Basic and have it in another window where you're editing it in Dynastar. Because you can really mess up your program that way.
Yeah, I usually use VED for that type of stuff. But yeah, same thing. I'll have one window for editing and the other window to load and run the code. For the other people here that do basic programming and stuff like, say, Nick or anybody else in the panel, what do you guys think? Is one definitely more advantageous than the other, or does it depend on the circumstance? And what is your preference?
I agree with what you said, a bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, there are times either one has advantages over the other, but full screen editor can be quite dangerous too.
So can change all.
Yeah. Well, one guy, he's around in the chat, is mentioning he prefers a full screen over the arrow keys. That said, there are still many times I'll use Basic09's built-in error because that does have wildcards. You can change star and like change every name of a variable from Rick to Mark. In one shot, it does a whole friggin' program, and that's not, you can't do that in a full screen error when your code's like 15 screens long.
Yeah, trust me, I often develop with Visual Basic code on Windows and the code on the Coco. And which one it's easier to make a change in switches back and forth pretty often.
Yeah, that's the same thing I experienced. And Basic09 is a bit of a different one. Like edit does a line at a time, and you can actually tell it like search for the 5th occurrence of the letter C. You go 5SC, and it'll jump to the 5th one. So once you get used to that style, you can do it pretty quick. But on the other hand, if you need to change a variable name because you suddenly discovered, I don't know why you would change it, just the variable name. But just if you, or say change some text. Say you renamed your game because you just found out you're going to get a copyright strike because it's already a copyrighted game. You have to change them all. Well, then you can actually use the change star on Basic09 and just do it on one shot. It's nice.
There's kind of a weirdity here, and I think that Basic09 came first, and some of the choices that Basic09 made, OS9 improved upon. So they aren't exactly the same. The things you do in Basic09 you think are going to be exactly the same as the things you do in OS9, and they aren't always.
Yeah, well, Basic09 definitely came first because that was actually developed before OS9 was.
Well, right, and it doesn't lean on OS9 for things where if it had come second, it would just use the OS9 editor. But no, it has its own editor, and OS9 has its own editor, which is pretty much the same as the basic editor. Well, and like context with save and save star are two separate commands in Basic09. They aren't save.
Yeah,
with
like the edit
star,
command itself in OS9
you know?
has some differences. It also has macros and a bunch of other stuff added in.
Yeah, they're similar but not the same. It's just kind of puzzling. You have to learn what's different between Basic 09 and OS9.
Yeah. And the other thing for me with Basic 09 is because it had to run, like a lot of the machines they were designing it for before the Coco were basically running off terminals, and you had no idea what kind of a terminal you're going to be running on. You're going to be running one that is VT100 has full cursor control, or you're going to be running on a teletype printer, which literally can do nothing but carriage returns. So Basic 09 had to be written for the dumbest terminal it could possibly be on, which is why it's line oriented. It's not screen oriented in any way, shape, or form. Exactly. I think if they'd known they were going to be using like a VT52 or VT100 or something that has a fair bit of controls in it, they could have written a full-blown editor with, you know, color highlighting and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of bigger than, because when they wrote Basic 09, if OS9 had already existed, they would have passed a lot of things upstream and let OS9 handle the editing and the screen display. But they had to do what they could inside of the limits of Basic, and they just kept it. Yeah. So, you know, we've got the two editors where we could have had one more capable editor, but, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get into a rabbit hole, but.
Oh, I did. Just a couple comments here I'll add in too. So Mr. Dave 629 says he likes edit on the CC3. And like once you get used to it, if you're editing on a 40 column screen, if you want to jump down 3 lines, you know, 3 times 40, 120 space, and it'll just jump down. Same with the 80 column. And then Tom Erik Gundersen says, I like the Amstrad CPC approach with arrow keys and a copy key, which I think is similar to what the Deluxe had, because that had insert character, delete character, and I think it did have a copy and paste. I can't remember if it did or not.
Would help.
But yeah, I mean, in my programming, I'm usually kind of like Rick, you mentioned, I will use an editor like VED in my case, but Dynastar or whatever, you know, or
Right.
Yeah, Dynastar, or Screenwriter from computer or whatever it happens to be that you're using. Scred even from the development kit, which actually is terminal friendly somewhat, is definitely useful for some things where you have to like move lines around, especially if they're not numbered. But on the other hand, if you're in Basic 9, you need to change something wildcard wise or search wildcard to say every occurrence of this variable so you can kind of track a bug where this variable is getting set wrong. That's very handy. So I do a mix as well. I don't pick one over the other. It depends on the circumstance. Anyway, he's got some audio issues he's working on actually here. So, but you know, he's getting used to how to use the new locate command. Of course, your positioning of text on the higher text hardware screens is done completely differently than it does in the Coco 1 or 2. Print at went bye. Now you have locate. So, based on the PC one, he does like the 80 column because you can fit a lot more of the code on the screen. Anyway, he kind of goes through and figures this, and he starts fiddling around. And one thing he noticed on the graphics screen, H screen 2, which is 16 color mode, is that by default, Super Extended Basic only sets 8 colors repeated twice. And that's because of, I think, it's set up for the hardware text screen where you can invert, you know, between your foreground color and your background color. So made the same set of colors.
Exactly.
So you can figure out, you know, black is foreground 0 and background 8 or whatever it happens to be. I don't remember off the top of my head. But that's confusing to him because he hasn't really learned the palette command yet. So he's going, well, I'm supposed to be in a 16 color screen mode. Why have I only got 8 colors? And of course, you have to go set them yourself to whatever you like. And the other one, because he's been kind of switching back and forth. And right now he's waiting for some graph paper of the 320 by 192 screen to start designing shapes and stuff with the colors. And he did download the super extended manual from the archive, but that particular page is actually scanned in fairly low res, so it's kind of a blurry mess. So he's asked William to actually scan the manual and get a nice clean copy you can use. So in the meantime, while he's waiting for William to have time to do that, he started another Coco 1 and 2 game, and he's still got a few others he's got to finish first. And this is basically just the basic concept of drawing the sprite itself and then moving it around type thing. But it's a bigger one than he normally uses. So this is a fairly large size sprite. And this is one where if you want a sprite to move really fast under extended basic, this is where you got to use that hidden feature that's not mentioned in the manual of doing sprites or doing get put buffers that are on even byte boundaries. Because it runs especially on a sprite this size, probably 3 to 4 times faster than doing it the old-fashioned way, which is what the manual tells you to do.
Right.
We have to do
And
the
this is-
comma G option and the P set option, and you skip all that, and then you can blast it. There's a really good article in the October 1983 Rainbow. There's a little saucer that goes up and it actually compares what the speed is of using it the quote-unquote legal way as mentioned in the manual versus the hidden Microsoft way where if it detects on an even byte boundary, it'll do byte copies and not have to do all the bit masking and shifting up. And it's a lot faster. And that's something I think would really help a game with large sprites like this. So any of you have not done that before in a Coco 1 or 2, I would definitely would check that out because it's a very noticeable difference. The larger the shape you're trying to do, the more proportionally faster it gets.
Well, and the more proportionally painful it isn't, because
the caveat is, of course, you have to put on an even byte boundary, which on P mode 3 would be every 4 pixels. On P mode 4, if you want to keep it as a 2 color, not use artifacting, you're gonna have to do it every 8 pixels. So maybe that's too coarse for your game.
But
you can
this
cheat though.
This one's only half of his bow, I guess we should call it.
Yeah, that is a bow because he wants to actually shoot the arrows later on. I thought it's a pretty well designed sprite, actually. You know, given the limitations of the pastel color set there that he chose. But yeah, I mean, the if anybody's seen my little ninja demo, which I don't know where it is at the moment, but I think I've showed it on the show before, where the sprite is literally about 1/6 of the entire screen, and I have it actually running on alternate frames, flipping from left to right facing, and it runs almost as fast as a machine language program would. Now, mind you, I don't have anything else going on the screen at the same time, but and you're limited to being on the even byte boundary, so every 8 pixels in P mode 4, but it actually is so much of a speed increase. I would recommend designing your game around it, design your sprites around that limitation, because it makes such a huge difference in speed. Next, after that, Boisy Pitre announced a new service here for customizing your Coco cases, which is called Hydro Dip. And he shows an example here. He's got the old stars and stripes map, the entire keep.
Uh-oh.
And I'll read this for those who can see this listening on the version, but basically, Planet 9 system Hydro Dipping original is given the vibrant, durable custom finishes that keep the retro soul, but add a modern flair. From subtle marble, wood grain. Sorry?
You need to dip your router in alcohol or something. You're falling apart. And that's the news.
Ooh, he froze.
Let's see if the news comes back, shall we?
Do we have a news dance?
Oh, looks like we lost him entirely.
No, he has to kick and return. Yeah, something went away. I like the Hydro Dip case. Those are cool. Hey, he's back. He's moving.
Yeah, whatever happened to my router there? Confused Zoom some.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's still happening.
I might be trying to resync everything right now.
Yeah, I think you're coming back together.
Yeah, because I'm seeing you guys move again. You guys are all frozen in time. Set my share again here.
It frozen literally, right? 40 below, whatever the heck you got going.
Yeah, might have. Isn't that supposed to be like super conductive temperatures? I should be getting better bandwidth.
You should be going faster, right?
Anyway, you guys can see the
nice Hydro Dip. It's not split or anything. I wonder how many times they tried that to make it work.
Yeah. So anyway, he's got an explanation here. Like I said in the show notes, you can get the direct link if you're interested in doing this. You ship your case to him. Remove the motherboard, keyboard, and power supply because they're just doing the case. They want to script your motherboard and anything else. You choose your dip pattern, case prep and dip, and then ship it back to you ready to assemble. It's $125 to do both the top and the bottom shell. And typically 7 to 10 days return time. And of course, that's the one example they did here.
He masks out the serial number
stickers
plates and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's masked them out as opposed to remove and put back on because that's kind of
you can kind of see.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be pretty iffy with some of that glue.
Now I want to get some white PC boards made and hydro dip one of those.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, if we ever get a Coco 4 made where the gimme Z is like built right into the where the gimme socket is, maybe throw in a few sockets like Pedro was doing, some of the replacement chips like the salt and pepper stuff, and it'd be kind of nice to make a totally new design. Go ahead.
So hydro dip, what is that? Is that paint or is it some dye?
You put the case underwater, you put the image on top of the water, you lift the case out of the water, and it picks up the image. So it wraps perfectly around everything as it comes up out of the, I'm going to say water just to make it easy. So any flat image that you can create, you can lift the case up through it and it will drape over it perfectly and make this effect. That's why they aren't exactly the same, because
is it paint or is it a dye for the plastic?
No, it's like a paint. That's why they clear coat over the top of it to protect it.
Yeah, it's actual paint.
I'm glad you guys know about that because I didn't know what the technical process was.
And so the clear coating is going to stick your labels down permanently. It's going to be I'm going to guess he coats over the labels.
Yep. Yeah, James Jones mentioned in the chat. It says like marbling paper, but with a fixed image.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, the way I've seen it though, Rick, was the reverse, where the image is on the water and they dip it down into the water.
Oh, they dip it down in? Okay. Yeah. Either way, I guess works.
Yeah, I mean, 6 of one, half of the other, but yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, they do all sorts of stuff with that. That's cool.
That's how you get that. It wraps around every corner. It gets into the sidewalls. It's really a neat process.
Yeah, you can see that for those watching on the live or watching the video version of the show afterwards. You can see like where the RGB connector is. It actually fills in that dip there, and then over here the cable kind of sneaks through. You can see the sides of the inside walls are also filled in. So
I wonder if it does the inside of the case as well.
No. It does 180 degrees and down the sides of that, and that's that.
Because it's picking it up off the surface.
Yeah, if you've ever seen like where a car gets a wrap on it, where they got that film, and then they go and like pull that film onto the paint of the car to do a wrap, like a temporary wrap. This is a little different. It's almost like I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's not really paint. It's almost like they print out the film and it gets laid on top of the water.
Right.
But then when they dip it down in there, it just fills in around every nook and cranny and it just wraps around it. Yeah, it's really kind of a neat process.
There's lots of YouTube videos on it.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, yeah, they do everything, and that's the nice thing about it is because of the shape. You're not limited by a flat surface, because as you dip it down in there, it wraps around whatever it is that you're submersing. So yeah.
The worst thing that happens is your stars start to stretch a little on the side there. Like you can see.
Now, does this only work on certain surfaces? Like if you want to expand this beyond the plastics of, say, a computer case, does this work on like wood or metals or anything like that, or is it restricted to certain surfaces?
No, people hydro dip everything nowadays. You should.
It's real popular with guitars.
Yep, guitars.
Yeah, I guess that's I've heard of it for guitars. That's true. That's usually
People
wood or a lacquered
shoes.
wood. Jim Rice says it's a pretty nice solution for yellowing.
Oh, right. If your retro bright don't work, hydro dip.
Yeah. Actually, there was an interesting article that was published on that. Was it the Coco Discord or the Amigos Discord? I can't remember. But basically, they did a long-term study on the treatments that various people are using with peroxide, et cetera, for yellowing, where they did a 10-year long study. And it basically, by the end of it, it doesn't really work.
It comes back and you have to dip it again, right?
Yeah. And eventually you weaken the plastic, from what I understood.
And it turns into a brittle mess where you can't even. Gotcha. Thunk. Oh, my case just crashed.
Yeah. Hey, it's a pretty interesting service, and you definitely get some pretty highly detailed images here, or just patterns or whatever you want. So for people making like hardware, this might be a nice way to uniquely make your hardware like a case or something for a cartridge or something with some full color graphics without having to make labels, etc.
Yep.
I don't know if it's worth the cost, mind you, because it's pretty expensive, but
yeah, I think the image is actually printed out onto a film that is then laid on top of the water. So if you can print it, you can hydro wrap it.
Nice.
I was trying to come up with something clever to say, but yeah.
You can dip it.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking though. I must say.
If you want different, yeah, here's.
Yeah. And you know, given the price on eBay these days, to get this whole process done is only the cost of like 1/3 of a CoCo3 on eBay.
Right.
Next up, I will mention that Robert Sieg has more posts than I'll be showing here because he's been working with some SG24 graphics converters. We take a high color image, like a GIF or a PNG or JPEG or whatever, and then he converts it down to SG24 to get as many colors as possible in the CoCo 1 or 2. And he's just showing some results here. Now he's got multiple. He's been putting in entries almost every day here on the Facebook CoCo group. I'm not going to show every single one here. I'll just show a couple that kind of highlight it. So here's one where he's like, he's took out the line on the left here. It was originally a 512 by 384. Here's the SG24. So you can see it's losing some detail, but not bad representation otherwise. Doing people's faces, it's obviously a bit coarser, but it still is recognizable for sure. And here's some other ones that he did here. Experimenting here with just pure color replacement. And he's actually using the extended color set 1, which has some extra on the original VDG, has some extra dark reds and stuff that you can't get normally, but they're wider pixels because it takes the full character cell width, not just half like a semi-graphics does. So it's a bit more complicated to program for. But then he starts experimenting with adding in dithering here too. And you can see the difference between trying to do a pure color version here and the dithering one. And the dithering one definitely looks closer to the original. And you can get some more subtleties. Next up, we have a question from James Jones, who's actually in the chat. So this is a way to ask the question live. And he said, I sure appreciate it if someone could post the output of an IDENT OS9Boot on an MM1 that has the CPU 32 upgrade. Now, some of you guys who actually have MM1s, I'm trying to remember that CPU upgrade was a 68 320. I can't remember what it was called now. It's basically, it was meant to be a microcontroller version of the 68000. So it's not just the CPU, it's got some extra ports and stuff on it, serial parts and stuff, I think, if I remember correctly. And it was a full 32-bit chip, so it actually ran a fair bit faster than the stock 68070 Signetics chip that the original M1 worked on. But basically, he's trying to find a version of the boot that actually has the drivers proper for that particular upgrade. Does anybody, either in the chat or live on the panel here, have one of those upgrades on their M1? I know a few have them. I think, Brian, you've got an MM1, but I don't know if you have one with that upgrade or is it just a stock?
Yeah, I'd have to look at it again. I'm not 100% sure what's in there.
Okay. James just verified it's a 68340, so that's the specific chip. It's got a 68020 32-bit core, and it's got some extra, I/O stuff and stuff built right onto the chip. So you don't need a bunch of extra support chips, or not as many anyway. Anyway, if you have the answer to that, you can actually just post it in our Discord if you want, or you can respond to James directly in the OS9, or the MM1 group on Facebook. Next up, this was kind of cool, I thought. So Randy Weaver posted this, but it's based on a post by Angela Owen saying, gave ChatGPT a picture of a sticker of Coco Cat, which you can see on the left here, which is Rainbow's little mascot for the Coco, and told it to write a pattern for actually sewing, maybe knitting. I'm not quite sure the technical. I think it's knitting. But basically, it gives you the pattern so you can actually knit it. If you follow it, it actually makes a 3D version of the Coco Cat. And that was using ChatGPT to convert that 2D image into a 3D knitting pattern. So I thought that was kind of cool. That's one of the good uses of AI I've seen. Next up, and this is kind of a follow-up, Erico was actually on the show last week. You guys had a few guests on, which is awesome. He's been working on that game engine that has a little 2 or 6 pixel character running around and jumping onto ledges and picking up treasures and stuff here. And just kind of following up on when he was showing, designing levels and stuff here. He says, trying LDTK with auto map rules on the Ingots game. Super fun to make stages this way. So he's kind of got it showing here. And he's drawing in the various things here, and he's got these little clips of different screens. And this looked really interesting. It's for an SG4 game, basically, and the amount is, I think he's writing it in Micro Games Basic, so it's compiled. So the game itself actually runs at a pretty good clip. But given the limitations of the size of the shapes that he's using and stuff, the amount of animation he's got in there is just, it's quite impressive. There's a whole art in itself of having these severe limitations rather than just like, you got a 16 million color palette, have at it type thing. It's pretty amazing what he's been able to do. But if you want to see more of that game in action, definitely watch last week's show where he actually demoed it. Next up after that, we have 8 Bits in the Basement with the 7th entry in his vlog series on his Super Shooty Aliens. This is his new ML game that he's working in. It's a Semi-Graphics 24, so they'll work on the dragons and the Cocos. And Space Shooter, obviously. This video, he basically is covering, he's added some sound routines into it. But the big thing is he's actually adding a boss level and a custom font. So he's actually expanded to have all the letters and the numbers for score and stuff. So you can do like, text messages on screen from the game, or maybe have, with the winner's initials or name, etc. So I'm going to play a little clip in the middle where he kind of just finishes talking about the fonts and then shows off the big boss and then exactly kind of how he set that up to use the code that he has written. And then you can watch the whole video for more technical explanation of everything and a bit more demoing.
But I think I managed to figure out some of it. I'll show you here. So I've got my end boss on screen here as he is. Yeah, we've got the end boss here, and he's made up of what I call megapixels. These big squares here, and I'll explain that to you in a little minute. But basically what's going to happen is we're going to have the boss that looks like this on screen, and he can kind of move any speed I want him to move, and in any way I want him to move around the screen. What he's doing there right now is just to see that he works. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little fleet of aliens going around him. It'll be like a little force field that goes around him. Maybe not around, maybe square would be easier. But going around him anyway, that'll be constantly replenished. And we'll have to shoot at that. No mind, these bullets won't go through him like they are and cause that kind of glitchiness. But we will have to shoot those, because what's going to happen is the end pixels here that make up his antennas, the end of his antennas, his hands, and also the tips of his feet, they will randomly, one of those will change color. And what you will have to do is shoot through the shield in order to shoot that random colored pixel. And if you manage to do that, what will happen is he will open himself up like this to expose his central core. And what you will have to do is shoot his central core a number of times in order to kind of weaken him and eventually destroy him. But of course, he'll only remain open for a short time, and then he'll close again, and you'll have to go through the whole thing again. So I think that's what's going to be going on. Now,
but I like that mechanic of actually having to kind of expand, because normally if you have these shields to get through, it's normally like a rotating shield, like, in Phoenix or something like that, or, Bust Out. Or Sea Dragon. There's a bunch of games that use that, but actually having to like kind of blow this thing up so it spreads itself apart and then shoot it before it collapses back together again, I thought was kind of an interesting mechanic. Now, he does mention a bit later in the video that he's working on the flickering part there. So he's probably going to end up double buffering it to eliminate that, because he's constantly redrawing it. And that's why you're getting that kind of flashing on the big boss there. But I really like where the game's going. He's got some great shapes and stuff in there. I mean, considering this is only, I think, the second or third machine English program he's ever done in his life, he's doing pretty damn good. And I was going to ask professional game developer Nick, what do you think so far?
Oh, where do I pay? I'm going to buy it. I think he's doing a brilliant job. He's doing a very good job.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, not only is he, learning assembly language at an enlightening clip here and actually, producing, fun games. We've covered some of them in the Game on Challenge already. But he's also coming with game concept ideas that are a little bit different than the mainstream ones. Like he's coming up with some original type of things, like this expanding alien thing. I haven't seen that mechanic in any game I could think of off the top of my head. Maybe there's some out there, but it's definitely a lot more rare than the rotating shield that most of them have. So I like the ideas coming up with fresh ideas. Go ahead.
I like the fact he's taken on the challenge of doing a semi-graphics game, real color on a Coco 1 and 2. So, no, he's doing very well.
Yeah. I think when he gets a bit further, we may have to have him come on the show and do a live demo.
Definitely.
I know it'll be, a terrible time in the morning for him to do that, but or maybe we'll have him on the tech show with Mark Overholzer.
Yeah.
That's another option.
That would be a good one.
Because then we can kind of work around his time zone a bit better.
Yeah, exactly.
You're halfway to Australia, aren't you?
Well, he's in France. No, he's originally from Ireland.
Oh, okay. Halfway to front. Okay, I'm confused.
All right, yeah, keep up the great work, because this looks really impressive. I'm really looking forward to seeing the game.
Yeah.
He was in the chat earlier, so he's
Oh, was
probably
he?
still here. Yeah, he was.
Oh, cool. Next up, we have a YouTube channel called We Fix Stupid Computers. Okay.
Don't look stupid.
So he goes, what's inside of a TRS-80? Kind of using the generic term, like it did not mention this is a CoCo specifically. In this case, he's meaning the CoCo 1 that he's kind of taking apart here.
What is inside of a TRS-80? Let's pop it open and find out. This looks like an entire little city. Look at this huge flux capacitor. Actually, this is a 10,000 microfarad 16-volt capacitor. Nichicon capacitor, which keeps the electrical rails regulated. The original.
So he's doing it with a bit of a sense of humor, so he's not too serious about the stupid computers thing. I think it's just kind of the in-joke. But he goes through and basically gives a quick rundown of what's inside of a CoCo 1, which if you've never seen a CoCo 1 before, this is a nice gateway video to kind of get your feet wet a little bit, and then you can start joining our show every week and become complete CoCo nerds like the rest of us. And I always like trying to highlight some of the people that are, are doing something with a CoCo for the very first time and have never really fiddled with one before, and then try to invite them to come on the show or at least watch the show and join in the chat.
The old chiclet keyboard.
Yeah, well, the ironic thing is now chiclet keyboards are popular in laptops.
Yeah.
I mean, they're better designed than the CoCo ones.
Well, right. They have
more robust.
actual
But I mean,
feel
the
and-
concept is right back to where we were in the first place. So we
Yep.
were right all along.
And the silver case is also, you're seeing silver on a lot of stuff now.
Yeah, well, like the MacBooks and the
Yeah.
original PowerBooks. Well, not the original ones, but the first metal aluminum ones were all silver colored.
Back to the future.
The iMac I'm looking at right now is silver colored.
Well, the only thing left after this is back to wood grain. So
Yeah.
So it's wood grain, black, beige, silver.
Or you can do all the translucent stuff like the iMacs did back in the 90s, early 2000s. You
They're
get
already
like
doing
flower
that.
power and stuff. Yeah.
You can get translucent ones for the Apple. I mean, they're clear.
Does Boise's thing allow translucent? That dipping thing?
How would
Did
you
you dip
turn
like
a
clear plastic
opaque-
and then when that and still see through it? I don't know.
That would be cool. Inquiring minds want to know. How.
Anyway,
I
up
doubt
next, there's a YouTube channel here called Felisuco, and this is talking about, and I think we did mention this channel had this before. They mentioned they gotten 3 CoCo 2 PAL versions in Europe that were actually still brand new in the case. This box is actually all 4 CoCo 2s, and I think they're CoCo 2 Bs too.
Okay.
It was meant to be part of some project, but it never got done, so it just kind of stored in a warehouse, and the entire thing is in pristine shape. So they kind of go through the history of trying to track the labeling, like where it got shipped and when type thing to figure out like where it came from, where it was going. And then eventually they get to where you actually get to see what was in the box here. Oops. Like there it's in Spain.
Never opened. That for more than 40 years these consoles were never sold, connected, or even touched. Package are still inside with their individual boxes, their manuals, their plastics, their serial numbers intact.
So
No one knows why, no one knows how.
That's a pretty darn good find to get 4 pristine CoCo 2's PAL versions yet, which are much more rare. Basically never been opened. And I think Mark B, do you remember how the serial numbers work with the European ones? Because didn't they start with that 20 that has a whole separate set of numbers?
No idea.
Oh, okay. And they're the 27Bs. That's the T1 VDG, right? If I remember.
Yeah, Bs would be the T1s.
And these
You can
serial
see like
numbers
they're
are all-
white.
Oh, yeah. And look at the keyboard.
Yep, the late one, the Tandy logo one, not the TRS-80. So I'm pretty sure these are T1s.
Last of every, yeah. And
Yeah,
they're
that would be the
they're
big.
adjacent number, very close to adjacent numbers, 59, 100 and something.
Yep.
They were
But just they're in fantastic shape. Even the styrofoam's not broken or anything.
Yeah.
So. I'm a little jealous, I'll be honest.
When the fun thing, when you open up something like this, the plastic isn't brittle yet. It still has all of its volatile things wrapped up in that plastic that's wrapped around it there.
Yeah, because the plastic's wrapped around it. The box is still pristine. And then the 4 Coco 2 boxes were inside a larger box that was still sealed too. So, I mean, it's been really protected from the elements.
So
no retrobreading needed here.
Unlike plastic that's been out in the air and has lost its volatile compounds and become brittle, these are all going to be nice and supple and bendable, and you can twist the case top and it won't crack. It's amazing what happens just by them being still in this little bag.
Yeah. And the thing I hope they can eventually discover is, what was this going for? Like, why did this company order a whole bunch of them all at once? And then whatever the project was got canceled. Because I don't think it was for retail, but it sounds like this is some special project they're going to do, kind of like we've seen in North America. We've had that one school board that ordered a bunch of Coco 2s, and there's the other one that had the Australian themed logo with I can't remember what it was like, or the trainer kits that we've had up here. Like, there's a bunch of special purpose Coco 1, 2s, and 3s have been sold or bought in for specific purposes for a certain company. And this sounds like this is probably one of those situations, but happening in Spain. I have no idea what that would have been for. So they are planning on doing a follow-up video to kind of go through this, if they can figure out some more stuff for it. I definitely am going to keep an eye out for it, because I would like to know myself. Next up, Mr. Ken Waters, you're up, sir. I'm just going to mute this and start playing, and you can explain what this is. I will read the title. Electronic Book Game Part 4, Creating a Character.
What did I do?
We don't know. Tell us.
Well, you wore a brighter shirt at any rate.
Brighter but darker.
You washed
Darker
it.
shirt.
You washed it.
I didn't wash it as much.
Ken, since you haven't actually talked about this, I think for a while, I think part 3 was a fair while ago, wasn't it?
Yep. Well, it was.
Maybe we just do a quick
September.
revisit of what exactly you're doing and planning here, as well.
So
as what
I'm attempting to make an adventure game for the electronic book, because I don't want something that's going to make you smarter, like on all them their educational games.
Oh no.
So basically, he's trying to make a stream deck for the Coco.
Yeah.
So what I did here is I just did some basic stuff about choosing your character, whether you want to be a fighter, wizard, or thief, and randomly creates some statistics for you: hit points, strength, dexterity, and then further on in the video, I create a mock-up of the first level so that I can test the using the electronic book to walk around the screen.
Now we got to get Ron to draw the pictures for your menu page with the dragon and the...
If I ever actually get to the point where I actually figure out what all the keys are going to do.
Make him do it anyway.
Actually, I wanted to mention that too, because Rick, you're actually working on duplicating the electronic book, because it's a fairly rare item to find. I mean, it was sold for other computers, but...
Yeah, I've got to finish that up. I tweaked it to get the right numbers, and I haven't put that back into the GitHub yet. I've got to do that.
So actually, if
basically,
you go back
like Ken
if
could
you go
be
back
a
a little
professionally
further,
published software hardware author here.
Oh yeah, that would be that would be a stretch.
He's published.
But if you go back in the video a bit, there's a better shot of the that right around there. It's more shows the moving around the screen. Basically, what I was doing is just testing it out for not being able to walk through the walls.
Good thing.
But I like the layout. You've got like your stats up in the upper right. I'm assuming the lower boxes for like interactive things like finding objects. And
Yeah, like
kind of casting spells,
room descriptions, stuff like that.
And kind of going back to the Erico thing where he's doing his Ingots game here with the animations with very little pixels. You're doing the same thing here. You're just alternating the two checkerboards, and looks like he's walking.
Yeah, it's kind of like a top down. Those are my footprints going. It's kind of what I was thinking.
Makes sense.
And if you said you got some plans for what the extra keys will be used for, or?
Oh yeah, I have plans about it. I just got to figure out the implementation and if I'm actually how how much I want to include in it. Like, how complicated do I want to make this? Or
will there be a manual?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you hit button 11, it'll bring the manual up on screen.
Yep.
But I do like the fact, I mean, the electronic book, as we saw when we were at the museum in, was it Knoxville?
Yeah.
Tennessee. Most of the stuff that Tandy published for is all educational stuff. And we've seen a couple games like the Dark Pit on the Dragon, ironically enough, that actually did use it as a game controller type thing. But I like the fact you're actually making an adventure game, because one of the pain in the ass of adventure game is having to memorize a bunch of commands or keys. And since these are all nice laid out with overlays.
And this way it'll have it can have like 3 or 4 different pages, and so when you go into, say, a camping mode, then you just flip the page, and then when you get into a battle, you flip the page to that one, and then all your stuff is laid out there for what you can do.
Yeah, because you might have like running keys or attack keys. You might have switch weapon keys or all kinds of things. So
yeah.
And how have you been finding programming the electronic book? Is it pretty easy once you kind of get the hang of it?
The actual, well, that was a video I did the last one or the one before that, where I actually had help from 8-Bit Show and Tell to figure out a really efficient routine for reading the electronic book.
Yeah, that's really cool. Just to filter out the 12 inputs without you having to think about it.
Yeah, so the way that I did it originally is a little bit slower than the way that Robin figured out to do it, and he's kind of more of a math nerd than I am, so he figured out a formula that works really quite well with it. And
now you're doing this in BASIC, but could something like I'm trying to think here what would be an example. So like Nick's Gunstar, could he use something like this on the other joystick port? And let's say he had different weapons for his plane. Could a person use this, and you could basically select different weapons? You could periodically look at the other joystick, and because you're just reading a joystick position in a sense. So
well, that's what the Dark Pit does.
Okay.
So you move around with the one joystick, and then you have the electronic book in the other one, and then when you want to change weapons, you just hit the corresponding number. For
okay.
that.
Yep.
So like 1 through 6 is positioned in one axis, and then 7 through 12 is positioned in another axis. And what your game does with that's up to you, but.
So does that mean, because one axis is the first 6 numbers and the next axis is the next 6 numbers, or whatever it is, does that mean you can actually register 2 at once if you read the X and Y simultaneously? And you can actually handle 2 buttons as long as one's on the top app, one's on the bottom app?
I never tested that.
No, neither have I.
Inquiring minds want to know. I think it would. That makes sense.
But isn't the
chord?
Yeah, because I was thinking like you would have like the top half being like
1-7 would be different
duck, and then you hold that down and maybe hit the second one. I'm going to attack with my sword or my dagger or fists or whatever that thing.
Yeah, that seems like that should be doable.
Yeah, that would be much more of a action oriented game. What I'm designing here is more of a turn based.
Well, you can change your mind in the middle of any turn. Now, this time I want to treat it like this. So
right, but isn't this acting more like a digital joystick though?
Well, like I say, basically it's 1 through 6 on the x-axis and 1 through 6 on the y-axis.
Yeah.
But what you do with that is up to you.
Right.
And Tandy didn't do very much with it. It remains to be seen what Ken does with it in terms of.
Now, unfortunately, I think the routine that I have for reading it wouldn't work.
Right. I'm just thinking like with Curtis's question, like touching, let's say, opposite corners and stuff like that. I don't know if it would differentiate between that because it's looking, it's like I said, it's kind of acting like a digital joystick in a sense, where you're all the way from 0, 0 up to 250, 255, 255.
I know. For instance, the one that I made attempting to copy it, if you push 2 buttons together, like 1 and 3, which are on the same axis, they're added together or subtracted from each other or whatever. They mash, they combined.
Right, because it's not like a keyboard matrix. You're not. It's
right.
not,
No, they aren't
it's not
separate.
yeah.
It's just different resistances.
But the X and Y axes
two-
are separate. They're actually separate pins on the joystick port. So
yes. The top 6 and the bottom 6 are separate, but there is interaction between 1 through 6 and interaction between 7 through 12.
Right.
So
So
nine.
but like a joystick, you have a potentiometer in there with resistance. When you press a button on this, you have a sequence of resistors in there that are being put into series, correct?
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what I'm assuming, and that's what mine does, and it works. So I'm assuming that's what Tandy did. I haven't ripped a Tandy one apart with a razor blade to see, but
I mean, theoretically, you could do that, but I think that would be overcomplicating things.
Yeah, for me,
I've seen in a couple of the games, rather than pushing 2 buttons at once, the number 12 key, I think, is considered the shift key. So if you hit that, then you have a whole nother set of things you can do with the buttons. You have a top and a bottom, kind of like a keyboard.
that would make sense because the top 6 would change when you push the bottom one. And I guess the other ones would also change because the bottom one would be summed in with.
Well, you're just reading a value, so it's how you set it up to read the value. So
yeah, because I was thinking like for example, if you have the top half be pick a weapon 1 to 6,
right?
You got a dagger, you got a sword, you got a bow and arrow, whatever it is, and the second one might be like, where are you aiming? Like I'm going to aim at the top, I'm going to hit him in the face, or I'm going to hit him in the chest, or I'm going to hit him in the feet, or that kind of thing. Maybe hit left or right if you're getting surrounded by people or whatever. You can kind of like.
Right.
Now you could do turn-based, where I hit the one, I'm going to use this weapon, then you hit the second one to do the particular one.
Because definitely in the turn-based stuff, like in turn-based games, if you change weapons in the middle of a battle, that's usually your turn. You can't attack. Because
I was thinking do you remember what the heck is the name by Computerware? There's a game Computerware did that was originally for the Dragon, actually, Middle Kingdom, where you can actually, each round, it's kind of in real time, but you can hit the 3 key. I'm going to switch to my lightning spell, and then I hit the 1 key for my dagger. And it didn't have the aiming at certain parts of the body or something like that, but it's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of a real time. You get to switch your weapons as you're going.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's not necessarily your game, Ken. I realize that. I'm just wondering if it's capable of actually doing the 2 simultaneously.
Well,
it sounds like it probably should.
I would say, yeah, you could, but then that you've now gone from having to read 12 different values to having to read 144 different values.
Well,
no, you do 12 because your first one would tell you like which weapon, then you have a different.
Yeah, but if you're pushing 2 buttons together, then you've got to read. Well,
it's just X and Y, right?
Yeah.
But the difference is the X channel on a joystick can only be one thing. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. The Magic Book, you could put 2 things in the same time on the same channel, which is really going to confuse things because you're going to take the 1 resistor and the 6 resistor
and also pushing the buttons together. You'd have to be able to push them exactly together, because if you push one a quarter of a second before the other, then it's going to read the first one as your move.
Well, if you hold down a button, does it maintain the same value?
It does, but the difference is that the joystick, you can never push 2 buttons at once on the same axis.
So you can do 1, 2. No, you'd have to separate the 1 to 6 and the 7 to 12. Yeah,
which is a thing that you need to handle if you're trying to make a program that works with both joysticks and Magic Book.
Yeah, I was thinking like make a game unique to it that requires it so that you guys can sell oodles and oodles of these things as a bundle.
Yeah, you've got to buy the book to play the game. You got to buy the game.
You guys split the royalties. Rick gets the hardware royalty and Ken gets the software royalty, and you have something completely original.
It brought up a lot of problems.
It's not often I get to feature creep Ken. He usually feature creeps me on next stuff. So this is my revenge finally. So
no, it's a thought, but it would just make definitely.
It's not for this game in particular, but I'm just thinking like a Middle King, like a real time one where you're battling. It could be just like a karate game, and you want to have your top button be a kick, punch, whatever, and then you've got your different zones you want to aim it at: left, right, up, middle, down, that kind of thing. And you just hold down my kick key, and then I hold down the second row of 6 to I'm kicking him in the feet or whatever.
Or the much easier way to do that would just be doing it in a series. Like you push the 1 button and then push the second button. So you push 1 button and it's the first part of your move and the second button is your second part, because I just foresee it being quite difficult to do it, to push 2 buttons at once.
Well, on an original Magic book, trying to chord that big, you would need really big hands to do a 1 to 6 at the same time, or yeah, you couldn't.
Well, you wouldn't be using 1 to 6. Like, it would have to be divided. That 1 to 6 is your left hand, and the 7 to 12 is your right hand, or something.
The mashing 2 keys at once, it would be easy on a half-size page, but on a full-size page,
actually, the problem I can see with trying to push the 2 buttons at once is, like, even if you would have to actually, even if you hold the key down, the next time you go through the read routine, it's going to automatically read the key you're holding down as your move.
And the other key at the same time.
But that's no different than doing joystick 0, joystick 1. I mean, the ROM reads both, whether you want to read them or not anyway.
Well, yeah, but the only way you'd be able to actually do a move with pushing 2 buttons at once is if you hit both buttons at exactly the time the computer's doing the joystick read.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking you, like, if you hold down the key, does it work? Because if I would say doing kicks, I can just hold down the kick key, and then I can just switch from, like, head to foot to middle section with the second. Just keep holding the first one.
This is interesting. If 2 buttons are held down, is that unique, or is it going to end up... So if I hold down 1 and 3, does that make it 2, or does that make a 1.7?
I'm not even worried about whether, like, if they're in the same zone of 6 there, like, to me, that doesn't work, because, like you said, it's additive or subtractive. I just think you view it as 2 different sets of buttons. Like, the one is like an attack type, and the second one is, the second row of 6 is going to be, what aiming you've got for that particular attack, something like that. I'm just speculating.
Right. Well, that should work.
I guess the biggest problem is the way that I have it set up is that it disregards the 0 axis. It only reads whether it's coming, like, it doesn't read the second axis. So if the x-axis is 0, it automatically reads the y-axis. If the y-axis, or it reads the x-axis, if it's got a number, that's the one it reads.
Okay, so 0 means that there's no joystick or no button being pressed at all. Let's say the first. So the x-axis, if it's the top 6, means if 0, none of the top 6 are being pressed, you go to and check the next 6 instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if something's pressed on the top, you won't check the bottom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
that wouldn't be hard to change if you wanted to, but yeah, I mean, I understand why.
You could set it up to do that, but it would be, I think, slower and...
Right. More capable, but slower. So, yeah.
That's what the speed up poke's for.
Whereas if you're doing a game like that, and I would do it as making read the joystick twice and always have to push 2 buttons. So you would push the first one as the head, and then the second one as the place that you want to kick, like just bang bang.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to do 2 buttons at once.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking, like, one would be the action button and the second would be the finesse of the action, like a direction or which way you're facing.
And by putting them on separate axes, you cover the slop of maybe I didn't let off of button 1 before I pushed on button 2.
Yeah, because I agree with you. Trying to hit the 2 buttons simultaneously to get a certain thing, that would be damn hard to do, because it's actually reading an analog reading. It's not really reading a digital anything.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you have it so that the first one is like, I'm kicking. Oh, now I'm going to switch to punching. Well, then you switch from key 1 to key 2. Meanwhile, you're batting people on the left and the right, so you're hitting, like, 12 and 10 or whatever the hell it is to kick them down on the shins.
You do basically just do two in sequence, 2 joystick reads, one after the other. So it takes
which a lot of games do anyway. I mean, X and Y. If you're moving your ship on the screen, you're doing it that type of thing all the time.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you hold down your kick button, and then you can go left or right, and left and right. Just hold the kick down, and then hit your punch and go left and right on the other act. Yeah, let's see that.
Yeah, that's just kind of what I was thinking anyway. Anyway,
if you want to do an action game, but that's way beyond my my thought process.
I'll give you my ninja code there I was talking about earlier. You can finish it for me with that.
Cool. OS9 Ninja.
Oh no, it wasn't OS9. It's just an extended basic. It's Coco 1 and 2.
OS9, you slumming.
Well, I wrote that before I got into OS9, so.
Oh, okay.
Before the CoCo3 came out. So some comments here. So Azaran says, talking about the Coco 2s in box there that we talked about in Spain. He said they could have been backup units, companies that have been known to purchase more units than they need in order to have backups for ones that failed, but that definitely could be. I'd still like to know who was buying that many Cocos in 85, 86. Cabot Kisser says, Maz brings back old memories with the Coco computer. My dad brought me the Tier City Coco 2 back when I was 13. This is back in 85. Cool. I know a lot of people started in that because that was the most popular Coco model by far. LTOM 2100, do the joystick inputs control character sprites? I don't know if that's talking about the electronic book thing or if that's talking just regular joystick. It's up to the program. I mean, it could control all kinds of things, including character sprites. Could steer the direction of your bullet or something too. He also says, I do remember my dad had a description in the Rainbow magazine. And then, okay, LTOM said, Curtis, can you advise? This is Lloyd Thompson, so I guess I'll have to find out exactly what he was referring to there. And I'll let that kind of get caught up as we go. So anyway, yeah, I'm glad you're doing God's work there, Ken and Rick. I'd love to see these things getting reproduced and actually make some games that are uniquely designed for them that you can do more smoothly whatever you're trying to do than it would be with a straight joystick or straight keyboard.
Cool. The dance.
I don't know if it's technically smoother. I just think it's more interesting.
Yeah. Rick, you have to make the big one you put on the floor to do dance motion.
Yeah,
now.
exactly. dance Coco.
There we go. An adventure game. So when you walk, you have to hit the
literally walk
on the different keys.
Oh, right. Dive and roll and.
I'm liking this idea. That's awesome.
We'll put it on a gym pad. Yeah, it'll be great.
There we go. A 6 foot by 6 foot electronic book.
Yep. This new game by Ken and Rick will cost you approximately $399 US retail because
and you may need a physical rehabilitation expert.
But what the hell? They'll throw in a manual for free.
Coco Twister.
Well, there's another one.
Neutroid 5.
There you go.
Well, let's not get silly here.
Actually, I could design Neutroid to work with the electronic book, no problem.
There you go.
Plug the electronic book in, turn Neutroid on, walk away. You'll probably get a better score.
Well, no, you take your floor book and you hang it halfway up the wall, and so when you run across it, you slam into the wall. That's Neutroid.
I like how Nick thinks anything can work for Neutroid. That's self-confidence in his own product. I have to give him credit there.
And an optimist.
And he'll turn it in. That's the problem.
How's that for lengthening the show? We just spent half an hour talking about Ken's little game project.
We got a definite rabbit hole section here.
Amazing what a dirty shirt can do.
Yeah, no, all you need now is a cartridge that plugs in and gives you 2 extra joystick ports. So you can run 2 electronic books simultaneously.
There you go.
And then patch BASIC to use it. That's what you need.
That would be 4 books simultaneously.
Actually, you could run 2 electronic books simultaneously.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, one in
port.
left and right port, right?
So you could technically have 24 things on each. 24 things on each page.
2 players, so you could have you can duplicate the old karate game like Dicom did based on the old arcade one there, where the 2 guys are battling and they have to do jump rolls and all those things. So you have to hit the joystick and buttons and 50,000 different combinations. You can do it all in there.
Well, I think other than Brian Weisler, nobody has two electronic books. So,
but Rick's making them, so we can fix that.
Yeah, I got to get my project finished.
The last question. Okay, then we'll go on to the next one. Have you guys given any thought about how to do overlays in an affordable way? If you guys want to, really pursue this.
PDF file, and you can print them out yourself.
Right, sheets of paper. Put it in a binder and flip them.
Then if you wear it out, you just print another copy of it.
Oh, there you go. I was thinking maybe you'd come up with, dipping it like that Coco earlier and actually make plastic.
Oh, take those manila tab things and dip it.
Yeah. Put some LED lights in so that when you put it on the floor version, it'll actually light up like in the old Tom Hanks movie. When he's dancing on the keyboard. There you go. There, after you creep that enough.
Actually, there. If it's a fighting game, then you could put like little shocking things in it so that when you get hit, it shocks you as you're standing on it.
Yeah. You could get me to try to solder something, and they'll get electrical shocks all the time because I'll screw it up.
Oh, great! I'm feature creeping my own stuff.
And making it dangerous at the same time.
Right, right.
Oh, boy. Okay, next up, Wayne Campbell. I don't know if he's still in the chat here, but he's the guy who's been writing decode and decom, which are decompilers for BASIC 09. Because once you've packed a program, you've lost the source code, you lost variable names, and everything else. You can't recover the variable names because they're literally gone. But he's been working on at least reverse engineering so he can rebuild structures and variables and telling you like this variable was a string of this length, or this one was a real floating point number, or whatever it happens to be. But in the course of doing that over the last 30 years, he's really had to delve in the internals of how iCode, the compiled version of BASIC 9, works. And he's just released here the last week a set of 6 videos that actually goes through the nitty-gritty details of how BASIC 9 and RunB in particular, the pack stuff, actually works. He's got an intro kind of giving you the terms that he designed his own self, and then later on we actually got a copy of the defs file for BASIC 9 from Boisy. So now we can actually use the actual terms that Microware themselves use when they develop BASIC 9. And then he goes through here, as you can see, the title series got the header, which is going through the OS9 module header, because the BASIC 9 and RunB modules have an extended header. So there's some stuff that's standard between modules, no matter what it is. If it's a driver, if it's a program, it's a device descriptor, there's some stuff that's always the same. BASIC 9 and RunB have some extra stuff specifically for RunB and BASIC 9 only. And that goes through that. iCode part 1 and 2 kind of goes through how the whole tokenization thing works, the reverse Polish notation if you're doing mathematical stuff or building strings, etc. The description area and the symbol tables and how that's all built up. He talks a little bit about how it's done when it's pre-compiled, when you can still see the source, and then what it looks like afterwards too. So it's a lot of really deep dive stuff if you really want to learn how that works. And I'm still working on optimizing BASIC 9 and RunB. I've been optimizing it over the last 30 years on off. But getting the defs file has definitely helped, because that means I can actually figure out what some of the stuff is without having to like literally try everything to throw at it to see what happens. So basically, yeah, it's looking like he's got a lot of these details figured out between the two of us. There's more stuff to do, obviously, and we're going to keep improving it. There's 609 enhanced versions of BASIC 9 RunB you can get if you get EOU, and that's actually been updated a couple times the last couple releases. So we're gradually speeding some of the stuff up. I think some of the math routines now are literally 2 to 3 times faster than they were originally. Like for example, integer divide, and the mod command as well. So this is a really good background, though, if somebody wants to really dig deep at how does BASIC 9 work, how does RunB work, and how is it different from BASIC 9 itself.
You need to know this. Like my BASIC 09 program, I cut like 300 instances of a 5-character long variable name into a 2-character long variable name, and the program got 300 bytes bigger. Because variable names aren't stored anywhere. They're saved as tokens when the program is saved, and they don't exist in the source code as it's saved on the CoCo.
Once you pack it, it would shrink back down, but it kind of leaves that stuff allocated.
But yeah, I thought it was funny. I cut all these things down. I probably cut 2K out of the source, and the program got bigger because of the way the variable names are tokenized and stored and saved.
Hey, it's a really good series. I've actually gone through and listened to all of them. He's actually discovered a few things I hadn't figured out yet, or hadn't got to anyway in the parts of the source I've been going through. But definitely keep expecting, like I've even managed to do some minor optimizations in 609. I'll have to say the 609 version of BASIC 9 RunB was quite tight code to begin with. There's not a hell of a lot I can do. I did discover a few minor things. I think I can get like a 2% speed increase on a very specific Mac function or something like that. So don't expect miracles there. But the 609, yeah, no, you can do some pretty cool stuff. And there's some stuff that was originally done by Chris Decker back in the 90s that I'm going to be implementing in there as well, because he actually changed the whole way strings work. So it keeps track of the size of the string internally in the variables table, as opposed to calculating it each time, which means you can do string copies and stuff with a block memory move instead of having to like parse and look for the closing character type thing. So some of that stuff will be getting quite a bit faster too once I get to that point. But that involves changing a lot of commands. So I got to be really careful, because if I miss even one, it's just going to blow up and wreck everything. So, but you can look forward to that in the future when I get time to get back into it fully again. Next up after that, we have Brian Blake released a new entry on his Tandy Tercetti blog, and you can see a picture. I'm assuming that's a self-portrait or maybe just something AI generated. I'm not sure.
Looks like most of us, I expect.
Yeah, well, my hair would be on fire at this point, but other than that, yeah. This time he's talking about one pretty interesting CoCo. This is a CoCo 2 machine that has a whole bunch of modifications and additions to it from what a stock CoCo 2 should be, including some rare third-party stuff that he's trying to figure out. And he mentions it's got a heavy cigarette smell and alcohol. Well, I guess just more the cigarette smell, but
Turn
You
it
can
on.
see here,
and, yeah.
this is definitely not like just a stock Coco 2. There's a whole whack load of stuff in here.
Lowercase kit.
Yeah, but it's not the Dennis Kit's lowercase kit, because Dennis himself actually came on the Facebook group and said that's not one of mine. I
And
never
not
made
me.
one like that. I think they did figure out it's a fairly obscure company that made this particular one. But then there's some other stuff added in too that isn't really stock either. So there's a few things to discover in here. And I haven't actually checked lately to see if he's done anything else or mentioned anything else in Discord about any further things he's discovered about it. But yeah, definitely a very interesting Coco. I'd be interested in maybe the history of like who had this and who was doing all these mods and what were they using their Coco for. Next after that, RFI Shack, which is David Craker's blog. And of course, David Craker's a regular in the chat. He's been on the show a few times. He wrote a blog post about programming and assembly language on the Coco using a modern development environment and learning assembly from scratch using the Don and Kurt Inman book, which is actually one of the first ones I ever used. It was called TRS-80 Assembly Language Graphics for the TRS-80 Color Computer. So basically it covered sound and graphics right off the hop, and then it kind of got into the math stuff, whereas something like Eleventhal starts pretty dry, like you know, how do you add two numbers and how do you bit shift this? And this was like, how do you enable P mode 3 and draw a Space Invader? That's how that book was oriented. So it was a lot more interesting to program. So I learned a lot more from that book than I ever did from Leventhal or even William Barden's. Barden was kind of in the middle. He did some math and he did some graphics and sound. But that's what he's using there. So it kind of has this first blog post here of going through and learning how this is development. He's using emulators and stuff here to actually do it with MAME. So you can actually do debugging, tracing and stuff, which Tim Linder and who's helping Dave from CocoTown were kind of covering last week on MAME, because they've added a whole bunch of stuff to make the debugging a lot better. Like it keeps track of your original source labels and stuff like that. You can see live in the MAME window disassembling, so you can see literally your own code running rather than just the disassembled version of it. But it's he's kind of covered here, just getting into it and using modern tools, and I'm interested to see where he's going to be going with that. I know him and D. Bruce Moore are working on multiple projects for the Coco, some involving some additional hardware and stuff. So it'd be interesting to see what they're coming up with. As mentioned before, the blog called I Don't Know What I'm Doing, which is basically my life motto. He's been the one who's been kind of disassembling and figuring out how Downland worked. It was one of the classic Coco games that is one of the ones that I would say is a bragging game. It's kind of like Dungeons of Daggerath. If you wanted something that's going to show the Coco off that nobody else had at the time, this is one of them.
Come on.
And basically he's been going through, and he's done a series. We've covered some of these previously where he's been going through things. In this case here, he's going through the artifact colors and then what the original bitmap shapes actually look like. So like without artifacting, here's what an actual download screen would look like. It's skipping every second pixel to do the artifact blue and the artifact red, for example. And then it goes in, if you swap, because the Coco 1 and 2 would boot up with the phase, out, and then would suddenly flip the blue and the red. So you didn't know which one you kept hitting reset. Now on the Coco 3, that's fully controllable. You can just hold down the F1 key when you hit reset and get one fixed one, or not hold down F1 and hit reset and you'll get the other one. But you can see here where, the difference is just from phase shift. He actually links directly to Coco Town's video, which is actually, this one is blown up. I think I mentioned that the last time I was on. Like it's in the thousands and thousands and thousands of views, because this is a technique that also works on like Apple IIs and a bunch of other computers too. So that it doesn't apply to just the Coco, but it's one of the best explanations of how artifact colors work I've ever seen. I think, Nick, you said the same thing. It was one of the best you've seen.
Yeah.
And here, just for jokey, he actually offset the pixels by 1 for the character walking across. So if you draw it black and white, it would look fine. But when you do it here, if you're going odd, even, odd, even, odd, even, then his colors keep changing from red to blue, blue to red every single frame he's running. Kind of a neat effect. Probably not what you want. And here you can see the difference. So that's using MAME with a bit of smoothing and stuff that's built into the algorithm they use for generating artifact colors here. This is what it would look like if it was pure black and white, and this is what it looks like in color, which is quite a bit different. And he goes to the shapes here, like the bouncing rock or whatever you want to call it, treasures, the key, which looks quite a bit different here.
It's interesting. They're very careful to draw their vertical walls so the left and right don't confuse themselves. Like if you scroll up just a little bit, you'll see it. And that's because when you jump onto the wall, you want to land. There we go. You want to land on the top of the ledge here and you can bounce off of it. But if they used regular artifacting, you wouldn't see that. So they had to go double step it. So
Yeah.
the left and right remain distinct despite the artifacting wanting to blur them together, because it's important to the gameplay, which is strange.
Yeah. Oh, Ken, I just noticed your response to your retro programming in the chat. That book is on there, but unfortunately that page is kind of like JPEG over compressed. So it's kind of a blurry mess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oops.
So that's why he's asking for a clean one, which Guillaume, I think, is supposed to be trying to do here in the next little while as he gets time. But he's a pretty busy boy himself.
Well, there's one that I've printed off. Maybe it wasn't out of that book.
Yeah, I think one of the Coco 1.2 manuals, the 256 one, is actually in pretty good shape. And I don't know, do we even have a 640 pixel wide one? That would be pretty.
I don't know. I just that's what I've usually done, is just gone to the archive and printed off whatever grid I want to use.
Okay. Just wanted to mention here too, like one other way to think about this is if you're thinking like a 4-color mode, like P mode 3, it's using the same bit patterns. It's just that, 0 is green and 0 1 is yellow and 1 0 is blue and 1 1 is red. And you can do the exact same thing here. In fact, you can do that in BASIC if you do P mode 4,1, screen 1,1, PCLS, and then immediately do a P mode 3. BASIC thinks now every 2 bits is a pixel. So you can use the color commands and everything else. You can draw in artifact colors in BASIC perfectly controllable. You can do paints and all kinds of stuff like that, draw commands, etc. But it basically it limits the effective resolution to 128 because it's using every 2 bits as a pixel. And you can mix and match like Donkey King does, for example. Like it draws Mario and the gorilla with a nice full every 2 pixel colors to make it always red or always blue. On the other hand, the barrels are drawn as if it's just straight 2-color, black and white. So you get the nice smooth edges there, so it looks higher res. You don't have to pick one or the other. You can mix them up. Even in BASIC, you can just switch. If you have to draw something that's supposed to be just black and white on a screen you're using artifacting with, just do a P mode 4, do the drawing, and then go back to your artifact color, just do a P mode 3. Just don't do the screen command in between. Leave it up to whatever you initially set up. And you can do all kinds of little tricks with that. But yeah, he goes through all the different shapes here, and like some of them look quite violently different. Like I'm wondering here, like this looks like a door with a little oval, and here it almost looks like there's a face or something on it. And here you can see the black and white versions of all the different Mario positions here with his arms out and walking up and down and etc. Here's the actual font for the text in the game, all kind of run together, but it's a pretty good deep dive into some of the shape tables and stuff inside of Downland itself. To go back to the chat here, this is Saran says the variable names that you provide are stored in the source code. In the packed I code, variable names are replaced with 3 bytes, which Wayne does cover completely within the series of videos that he did. Erico, of course, you work on the Ingots game. He says the Coco Mario that it's not Mario. So no other game of the Coco gave me the feeling of wanting to design levels like Downland, which is kind of cool because Downland does have 10 different screens you get to go through, and very well designed levels with a lot of challenge. There are games with more levels like Time Bandit or Cashman. Cashman would be a fun one to kind of do, or some of the Load Runner clones like Gold Runner, Gold Finder, etc. type thing. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of fun if you're into level design. There's definitely some engines you could be using. Next up, Robert Sega. This one I kind of isolated separately. It's still him doing the conversion of high color modern graphics into an SG-24. But this was a Christmas scene, so I had to kind of separate that out because we're coming up on Christmas here. And he actually got some help with Simon Jonas on this particular one here, but I don't know how well this is going to look, but I'll zoom it up. And well, I guess I didn't zoom up much. But basically, it's like a snowfall scene with a lit up cabin and with a tree in the background. And it given these are basically effectively a 64 by 192 resolution with like 9 colors. That actually looks pretty good.
Why is that cabin smiling?
Because it's warmer than -40? I don't know.
It's warm in there. That makes sense.
Next up, Hero Dove. on YouTube. He's done a lot of these quick little running different versions of BASIC and different versions of extended BASIC and running a couple basic commands. And he mentions whether he's running a Dragon or a Coco and whether he's running a 609 emulation, 609 emulation, which with the ROMs makes no difference at all because the ROMs have no idea 609 even exists. Did something a little bit different this time. He actually did a quick demonstration of Art Gallery by Robert Kilgus, which is one of the earlier carts on the Coco. Running a 4K machine, though you're a bit limited on some of your picture resolutions. But it lets you save and load your images from tape. And basically, it's one of the ones that had one of those little overlays for the Chiclet keyboard that you put in so you can see what all the different keys did for, like, move the cursor left, change the color here, that kind of thing. So he does a bit of a demo, just kind of like just drawing stuff there, which, Ken could duplicate with Rick's pad there. Electronic book. But it's got some things like you can paint with, like, expanding lines and brushes and stuff here. So it's actually not a bad little paint program, especially for 1981. I mean, you gotta remember this is 3 years before the Mac even came out with Mac Paint. So, but it was nice to see him do something different because lately most of his videos have been 1 or 2 minute clips of running a basic program and running it on the various ROMs of the emulator. And there's not much changes in the ROMs. Like, it doesn't really change much. Most of them are done for like hardware things like, oh, the Coco has more than 16K now. We need a ROM upgrade to tell the SAM that, that type of thing. And speaking of microgames basic, which Erico's been using for his Ingots game and several other people have been using for games as well, there's been multiple fixes coming out recently, some cold fixes on the main branch. So back on December the 10th, there was a fixed GC string under the 6809 and 609. Then the very next day, a fixed GC string was mentioned there again, but there's a couple other updates. And then on the 13th, there's some stuff that covers various machines, of course, because this is a multi-platform compiler, but it mentioned specifically the reset palette of the CoCo3 had a bug that's fixed, and fixed CLS in the text mode under the CoCo3. So I'm assuming that's meaning the 1480 column modes that are available on the CoCo3 and not on the Coco 1 and 2. So once again, just go out and grab your updates. I will mention this GC string fix also applied to the 6803. So because this fixes both these CPUs, this should cover Dragons, this should cover Cocos, this should cover the Alice, this should cover the MC10, whatever the bug was. Next up, this is just kind of an oddball, weird thing I just had to put in here because it involves a bunch of guitar effects pedals, which I always have fun with. But a YouTube channel called Chewy Soliloquy decided to take his Coco and play a little, bit of music through there, like using the standard play and sound command, but then jacked it in through a whack load of guitar pedals, and he keeps turning different ones on and off so you can hear the different effects, which sounds like something we should do at the Coco Fest, one of these jam sessions or something here. So he's playing a little simple tune. And he's adding like reverb and digital delay.
Oh, patchwork.
So the Coco's still outputting the exact same little node sequence, but now you're just warping the crap out of it with all these effects pedals. And I'll play the whole thing there, but it's kind of neat to hear, like, you can take a simple tone that the Coco normally generates out of BASIC and do all kinds of weird stuff. You could probably write an album with enough effects pedals here that would sound pretty neat.
We should ask Danny. He's done. Or she's done.
Next up, there's a couple of updates. And actually, there's a general update on the server itself, the service itself. So the listserv that's been serving the Coco community for decades has been run by Dennis Bathory Kits. Created the lower kit and books for the Tier City Model 1, 3, and the Coco. Color Quaver, which is a 4-voice music thing. And he's a professional musician that writes like operas and orchestras and stuff. He also had the ambient room sound demo at Coco Fest back in the 90s for any of you that were there in Chicago. But basically, the listserv, the company that's been doing the listserv through has jacked up the prices for hosting the list dramatically. So he's actually shutting it down at the end of the year. There's been a couple of private queries to him. People want to try to take it over. At the very least, he's going to have the archives of it, and he's going to make those available so people can see everything that's been discussed in the last 20, 30 years. So I did want to mention that up front. But basically here, is some posts that were put on the CoCo list about the, and we have covered this before. Juan Castro. So he's been making these modifications to ROM, making 60K ROMs for the CoCo instead of the standard, 8K disk-based ROMs and stuff. This is like HTTP DOS type stuff. But he's been adding extra commands in. So he made 2 quick little videos to show some of the changes he's done recently. And since they're very short, like a minute, I'll just play them in their entirety because I'm not worried about him copyright striking us or anything. The first one here is to show how he's done the HSet color command to actually switch between color sets, and also enabling inverse video, which is a new feature here. So, and this is all done in the ROM. So this is just commands you enable, and you don't have to write any special routines to do this.
Let's go to the...
So he's also got a graphic font built in the ROM too, so you can actually get a higher density text on screen using the graphic.
The goodies are in there. I already had this. Make the text.
So that's basically the equivalent of screen 0, 0, 0, 1.
I already had HSet color 0 or 1, but now I have this. Ta-da! Reverse video.
And because it's actually a reverse video routine rather than just doing the inverse character set for lowercase, your commands still work.
Or, if you like, reverse orange video. Cool, huh? There's still one thing I have to fix, which is...
I will mention this fix he's talking about. He's as fixed. He's mentioned in the comments. He has corrected this because his backspace is still putting the non-inverse
60 hex
spaces back on the screen.
Space, I'll have to.
That is fixed now.
Deal with the flexi.
And the second one he did here is he basically shows that these commands have been extended to run in the graphics font window, which I think is a 42 by 21 or 42 by 24, which a lot of the software solutions like the Solution and OPAC and a bunch of others did back in the day. And you can tell you continue this video right from where you left off.
Let's get to my good old text on graphics mode. Oh, reverse video. That same HSet command works to define reverse video in the graphics mode. It's in HSet color an odd number. Let's get back to 0. And we're back to normal.
So anyway, these are nice expansions because basically this runs on CoCo 1s and 2s. And you get all these extra commands. You get a graphic font built in. You get inverse video built in just in the actual ROMs themselves. So you're not having to write a little hook program that steals a vector from BASIC to sneak in and do the changes on you. It says actually becomes part of BASIC itself, and it gives you the ability to true lowercase and to do more characters on the screen if you're in the graphics mode like this. So it makes it a lot easier, right? Adventure games where we want that little banner like we talked at the beginning of the news segment of the description of your room in inverse video type thing, and that's super easy using this. And this you can literally burn onto a ROM and install it in your disk basic cartridge type thing. If you have a 16K based one, like say some of the J&M controllers had type thing, and I think some of the distros did too. So you can actually make this part of your CoCo the way it boots up, or you can throw it in an emulator and play with it there. And there's a direct link if you would get to the show notes that will take you right to his Dropbox where he's actually got the images for this. He's even got a little README explaining what's been added and how to work it, and zip file of HTTP DOS, and he's also got stuff with DriveWire and all kinds of things in here too. So there's a whole bunch of stuff he's been working on because he's been working on this project for quite a long time and just keeps updating it all the time. I don't always cover it. Sometimes I miss it when he doesn't update, but definitely worth checking into if you're a basic programmer on a CoCo 1 and 2. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. Next after that, we have David Moak, who got a CoCo 3 set up, his real CoCo 3 with a mini MPI from Zipster Zone, a CoCo SDC, and the Orchestra 90. And he's got a bit of a Christmas song he's got played in here that's actually using the Orchestra 90. Now, because he's just filming it on a camera, I believe. It's not giving you like the stereo effects if that's being used. But it sounds pretty good. And I'll just play a little clip because, of course, it's coming up on Christmas. And a little tiny screen he's got sitting on the back of his Actually, the Orchestra 90's actually quite capable of doing some pretty decent sound. Have you ever heard the mod player the Sockmaster did for the 639, which has an option for the Orc 90 for true stereo 8-bit sound? There's some pretty amazing stuff you can hear on that. So it's just a simple DAC. It's an 8-bit DAC, but it's actually quite capable, and the 639 can drive it actually pretty decently. You can definitely get some pretty cool voice music with like percussion, like drum sounds and stuff.
And I'd still like to see someone create a expansion to the Orchestra 90 to give it 4 8-bit DACs, because it's
you
very
started
simple.
doing that at one point, hadn't you?
I tried. It cost a fortune. I couldn't afford to do it.
It's very simple to add an extra two channels. It could have been 4-channel 8-bit.
What I would like to see would be Jim Brain was working on that CPU cartridge that would have 2 more 639s and each has their own 512K RAM. Right, I'd like to attach a couple Orc 90s to those and have those CPUs drive the sound independent. You just send it the little program sequence and the note sequence, and then that plays in the background off that while you're running a game on the main CPU. Because you know how to program it, so you can put in whatever special sound effects or music files you want there using code you already know how to write if you're familiar with 689 and 639, but then you'd have the actual CPUs driving the sound totally separate from the main.
The problem that I found was you can use one DAC into one channel. You can use 2 DACs into 2 channels. When you start trying to combine DACs into a channel, now you need a whole lot more electronics. And it just got above the cost that a CoCo cartridge could go for. Once I had to add a mixer to put the 4 DACs into 2 channels. And they want to interfere with each other because the way the Orchestra 90 is designed, one channel works fine, but you can't bridge 2 channels together or they will. It's kind of like the magic book problem where pushing 2 buttons at once slums the 2 buttons together. And I couldn't find a good way out of that. So I had to step back from that problem.
Yeah, and if I remember, I think Jim Brain, when he was working on your version, Nick, before Rick got involved, I think he had problems with it getting noise or something from the mixing too, didn't he?
A little bit, yeah. I can't remember.
It seems like Tandy got the sweet spot. We can do 1 DAC cheaply and it works. The end.
Yeah. Well, so 2 DACs in the case of the Orc 90 cartridge, but you're getting pure DAC and not trying to mix it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because there's very few games that support the Orc 90. I mean, there's quite a few that support the speech sound card, usually the speech part, which is actually the worst part of it. But I think John Strong did his Tetris clone and his Gems games using the Orc 90, and actually would pan left, right when you're moving your pieces around on the left or right side of the screen. Would actually pan and get louder as further right you went, type thing. But that's about the only thing I know that really worked it. I know, Nick, you had started working on an Orc 90 version of Gunstar, but that was to be mixed with the MP3 player on top of it, I think. So that never. Now, have you released the Orc 90 version at all? You were talking about that at one point.
No. And I haven't received the MP3 player from Bruce. I think it's lost in the
him
mail.
and David Craker have been working on trying to clean up the sound a bit on that same problem that Rick's having. I think it sounds like it gets a bit muddy at times.
Yeah.
But I do know you sent me a private copy of the Orc 90 one where it had 8-bit sound samples and stuff. And it did pan, not pan, but you hear it shooting on the left side of the screen. You hear it on the left channel. It's pretty cool. Next up, and this will be the last of the news coming up here before we get into the upcoming shows. So we've got a couple MC10 stories. So Jay Mundy of Spriteworks has made a couple of games we've been covering for the MC10. Them was his first one, then Us was the second. These require the MCX S30 or MCX32SD card that Zipsterdone was manufacturing on behalf of Darren Atkinson, which gives you extended basic, gives you extra RAM up to 32K, gives you SD card support for loading in programs, et cetera, and saving. And unfortunately, as with most stuff from Zipsterdone, it's very rare that he gets a batch out. And usually if somebody does discover they're out, he's made 5 or 6, they're gone like within 24 hours, and then you have to wait months again to try to get them again. And of course, in Jay's case here, all the games he's making require this piece of hardware. So he decided, because Darren has released the specs of how to make one for free. And he's never made circuit boards. He's never ordered stuff through, PCBWay or any of this kind of stuff before. So this is a first part video of him trying to figure out how to actually get these things manufactured and see if he can. And then there might be an option for people to get them from somewhere else. So this is a 40-minute long video where he's kind of going through the files that kind of explain what parts you need, what the Gerber files are for creating the actual mask to send off to somebody to actually manufacture the boards. And he's not, I'll spoiler alert, I'll give you right here, is he hasn't got far enough by the end of this video that he's actually received boards yet. He was just kind of going through, like, how do you figure what chips do you need? How do you figure what capacitors you need? How do you figure out what Gerber files are? And how do you send them somewhere and all that kind of stuff? So it's kind of like starting from scratch. He's done programming, he's done some hardware design himself, but nothing like this with programmable chips. So he's kind of learning as he goes too. So it's actually a pretty interesting video from that perspective. And I'm really hoping I'm luck on this, because that's a product that I think a lot of the newer stuff that Jim Gary would like to do and a lot of stuff that Jay would like to do for the MC10 is going to require some of this extra hardware, extra RAM, especially the random access of doing the SD card stuff, so you can actually load in a second part of a game quickly rather than having to wait for a cassette and rewind 42 on the counter to get the second part because you skipped the third part or whatever. Would be a pain in the ass. And lastly, Jim Gary himself actually did one here. And this is an old animated Christmas demo for the December 1982 issue of Tier City Microcomputer News. I typed this one in myself back in that time, and then I wrote my own version with a bit of different graphics, but it has some animations and stuff on it. And he decided he was going to port it over to the MC10 using the enhanced standard basic that's on the MCX32SD or the MCX128, the older version that was just the ROMs and RAM. I thought I'd play a little bit because maybe some of you haven't seen this, but this was actually Tier City Microcomputer News, for those who don't know, was an actual magazine put out for the entire run, or entire line, I should say, of Tandy and Tier City computers back in the 80s and the late 70s. And it covered all their platforms. So you get a few pages of CoCo stuff, you get some Model 1 and 3 stuff, you might get a network controller stuff, you might get a Model 2. They were generally, about 40, 50 pages, I think, each issue. So they did a fair bit of information in there. But this is one of the demos they had for the CoCo 1 for Christmas of 1982. And this is now converted for the MC10. So it's just using the standard, play command or sound command on the MC10 to do the music, and it just does little bits in between. But in between each of the sound plays here, it actually puts a little few lights blink on the tree. The fire moves back and forth. So it's actually got some animation stuff in it. So it was a pretty cool little program for, early on for somebody to type in. Wasn't super long to type in either.
So did the original have a flat screen TV of the fireplace or a fireplace? I call.
Yeah. Like the one difference between this one and the one I did, and I have to find it sometime. I drew that one before I saw this one, so it's probably not drawn as well. But I use page flipping to animate the lights and the fire, because it would just blink between two different sets of lights and the fire would flip. So it's really smooth. This one actually does redrawing and stuff, but I don't think I bothered putting music in mine. So this one beat me on that one. But I think a lot of us probably did this if we've got it as a kid, type thing. You get near Halloween, you get near Christmas, you decide, I use my computer to make some Christmas demo or whatever. Anyway, that's it for the news. So I'm just going to quickly go through the upcoming shows, which actually shrank because we just had the World of Commodore go by. And like I said, Jim had mentioned there wasn't any CoCos really at the show this particular year, which is kind of sad to hear because both Jim and Frank sell CoCo stuff like CoCo STCs, etc. So we'll have to make sure they put some in stuff next time. And Mark, you're going to be up first here, Mark Oberholzer, because this is the show you're helping run, the 2026 Tandy Retro Show. And what do you want to talk about there? Have you got any more submissions, etc.? Oh, is Mark away from his?
I think Mike may be a tail. He said he had to leave earlier, but I don't think he turned his video off.
Okay, yeah, because I see it's still connected. All right, I guess I can kind of cover it. So this covers all Tandy computers, and it's basically meant to be tech talks. There's one big one that Brian Weisler, myself, and I think a few others, and Brian's still on the call. You can add in whoever's also is on that, but we're planning a fairly big one. But basically, it's tech talks on whatever subject you want. It could be software, it can be hardware, it can be a combination of both, it could be history, whatever it is. It's being planned for the January 24th and the 25th. There's enough presentations running all day, basically, and they'll help people, in other countries, kind of come in and show their stuff off or watch stuff in a time that's not necessarily when our show normally, but it might be early morning for us, but it might be a better time for them. It might be like afternoon instead of way late in the evening. So I know he's got a couple submissions already. I think, Rick, you were one of them.
Yeah, I finally turned in my official email. Are we going to do the retro stuff here, or is that maybe after?
What do you mean retro stuff?
The Coco 4 thing.
Yeah, I think we're going to do the Coco 4 there. Because, I mean, you and a few others have been trying to get, boot discs and stuff all up and running to, show off the full features of, say,
yeah, it's pushing really late. I wondered if that was still the plan.
So I don't think we'll do a separate one. I think we'll make it part of this, and then we can divide it into the different machines. Like if you need a bit of extra time for System 4 or System 5 versus, say, my TC9, which is basically a Coco with a few steroided parts on it, and then M1s and whatever else we can find. So I think I'm not sure if we'll make it one big Coco 4 show and kind of cover it for a couple of hours and go through all the different Coco 4s, quote unquote, that were announced in the early 90s, or if we want to go with little separate ones. I guess it depends on how big each presentation is going to be.
Something will happen. Okay.
Yeah. Nice. So anyway, if you want to keep track of it, you can go to the tandyretroshow.com, which will kind of give you updates as they go. Mark is kind of the organizer and the scheduler for it. And they're planning on, if there's enough presentations, they'll be running all day, both Saturday and Sunday, but we'll just run whatever we have. And it'll depend on the time zones of the people doing the presentations. Because we do have people from Australia, we do have people from the UK and Europe that have been on before to show stuff off. So it's going to be all over the place. And Mark does have the updated schedule, who's actually submitted for things yet. Next up after that is VCF in Montreal. And I don't know if our favorite French person is still on the call here to pronounce things for me. I don't think he is.
No, I think he left.
So anyway, this is happening in Military Academy just outside of Montreal. And you can hit the page, get it from the show notes on the Discord. I'm not going to try to butcher the pronunciation like I normally do.
No one can roll our R's to say Richelieu.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, it's happening on January 25th to the 26th. It's the first officially sanctioned VCF event in Canada ever. And they've got quite a few of the speakers verified now. So you can see a couple here. This is the very start of the speaker list. Mark Verdiel, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is going to do a seminar on restoring the Apollo comm systems, how to talk to a computer in the moon in the 60s, as an example. But there are a couple Coco related ones already up here too. So the first one up, I think, is Jim Gary. Yeah, here we are. Canadian Basic Retro Game Archaeology, Obstacles, Pitfalls, and Holes. So he's doing a presentation on that. And he's actually concentrating on early Canadian basic programs. So he's been trying to, we've actually talked about a few of these here where he's actually found stuff written in the 70s that, most people have forgotten about. But there's also a second one. Fabian Rodriguez is also coming on, and he's doing From Coco to Community, the color computer then and now. And he's doing French and English. So that's another one. I know that John Kowalski Sockmaster was talking like he's not sure if he's going to present or just attend. But he might throw in something too. And honestly, he would have a fascinating talk because he's probably one of the best experts on the Coco hardware and software programming out of anybody on the planet. And he's been able to pull off stuff that nobody else has been able to do. Next after that is, of course, the big kahuna, Coco Fest itself, Coco Fest 2026, which is April 24th and 25th in the Chicago area. And same venue as it was last time. Hotel rates are locked in. The discount code for the hotel rates is there. Grant gave us an update a couple weeks ago. So I think that they are looking for stuff for the auction, which raises money for the following show. Seminars are, of course, being set up, etc. But if you want to get into Coco stuff, this is definitely the show to go to. It's nothing but Coco. And there's a lot of vendors there. There's a lot of talks, and the auction, you can get hardware cheaper than you'll ever get on eBay. And sometimes you get hardware you can't get on eBay, or software for that matter. So it's a great show and a lot of fun. That exact same weekend, if you're in South America, you might want to consider attending VCF LATAM 2026, which is the very first Latin American VCF that's official. And you can see a picture of an ADM3A terminal there. Rick and I will recognize those. But this is becoming all retro, same as most VCFs do. And this is in, I'm probably going to butcher this, Bahia Blanca, Argentina. So if you're down in the Argentina area, definitely want to attend this. If you're Coco specific and English is a pretty strong language for you, I'd probably recommend Coco Fest over this one. But on the other hand, if you're into general retro, definitely go check it out. And the last one I'll mention, and also this was one I was going to get Mark to talk about a bit more, is the rebirth of VCF Pacific Northwest, which has been on hiatus since basically COVID started. And they've had a couple kind of unofficial ones. This is the first time they're officially back in. And this is on May 2nd to 3rd, 2026 at the Tukwila Community Center, Tukwila, Washington State, not Washington, D.C., for those not in the States, not familiar with the differences between the two.
There's nothing called Tukwila anywhere near D.C.
I know Ken has gone to this show before. We've got Coco representation from several people there. Mark's definitely planning on attending because it's like literally a 2 or 3 hour drive from him. And I'm glad to see that it's come back because it was gone for like half a decade, unfortunately. But definitely if you're in that area, I'm hoping Tim Linder and a few others might be able to show up to that one too. Maybe get a nice big Coco contingent, maybe even do some seminars. And that is the end of the news for the last 2 weeks, actually.
Wow.
Yeehaw.
We're only slightly dark.
No, look at, I'm just looking at
I'm just
Kevin
surprised my
Holloway's
voice held out.
Looking at Kevin Holloway's picture there.
It smells like chicken. You're holding it wrong. No, hair does not smell like chicken. I can vouch for that. It stinks to high heavens what hair does when it's burned.
Yeah, well, then you're holding it wrong. Yeah.
I was holding it right. I just was pointing in the wrong spot.
Well, if you hold it wrong, then it smells like chicken.
Yeah. If you hold it like some of those girls do in the commercials.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Where's my buttons? Here we go. Ready for the outro?
Yep. My voice.
This concludes another episode of the CoCoNation, the world's leading live interactive talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things the CoCoNation, visit us on the web at thecoconation.com. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to show@thecoconation.com. The CoCoNation show would not exist without the community and its cast and crew. The CoCoNation theme song, copyright 2022, D. Bruce Moore. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. The CoCoNation is over. Join us on the Coco Discord server. Coco forever.
Oh, I didn't turn this thing off. Yeah. I'll get the right button sooner or later. There we go.
Try them all.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, till next week. 20th. Yep, we're good.
Yeah. I won't be on the show next week, and I won't have time to research news stories because I'm on holidays. Out of country, so
you should give us our tips and tricks or something.
Yeah, I can give you a little bit here in the post show here. I'll stay on for a couple extra minutes.
Okay. Well, till next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.